Folks, welcome to the NACE Starleague Week 2 of Call of Duty. On the desk is myself, Seymour, alongside Cruz. We're going to bring you through the action of the day, but a little bit of information to talk about before we do so, because this is going to be interesting. We got the format to run down for the Call of Duty season, because last week we didn't get to see these matches, but this week we get to get into the nitty-gritty. So this is interesting because through the regular season, it's basically the conference play between each team, and when we kind of reach the end of the several weeks of online play, it will be the top 3 teams to play in the conference play-ins, and only one of them makes it to the playoffs. So it's going to be an interesting format once we do get to that. And inside those playoffs, the one team will be going through a single elimination bracket until they reach the top 2 teams, who will be moving on into the fall grand finals for the NACE Starleague. So it's going to be interesting to see an $8,000 prize pool for each of these teams. Plenty to play through, and getting this week too, we got plenty of action as well, Cruz, to kind of walk through as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, NACE, they've the format is fantastic. Honestly, it's a very different format than anything that I've really been a part of so far in Call of Duty. So I mean, definitely something very exciting to get into. But we got a beautiful graphic for you guys, show you guys the weekly schedule that we've been going over here for the week. And I mean, you guys saw it on Monday. We had the Rocket League and Overwatch yesterday. Unfortunately, League of Legends did not happen, but we're back. It's Wednesday. We've got Call of Duty here for today. 3 fantastic matches to go through. And then on Friday, CSGO to wrap everything up for the week for the NACE Star League. And I mean, every single day, it's basically the week. We're starting at 7 p.m. And so, I mean, so much action to go on here.
You're only missing Thursday, but I guess you can count that as a buffer day to kind of recuperate yourself before we start CSGO on those Fridays. But anyways, enough of the past, enough of the future. Let's talk about the present and the matches that we have today, because our match number 1, it's looking like a banger. We get the Akron Zips going up against Virginia Commonwealth University. And if we're seeing this head-to-head that we have between these both squads, 1-0 records after the first week of play was finished. This is in the East Conference as well. It's interesting when we talk about these two teams as well. We're both from the CCL as commentators, so we've seen them before. A couple new faces on the rosters, but they still look as deadly as ever.
Yeah, and I mean, when you're really looking at these two teams, like, yeah, the 1-0, it's fantastic, but also 3-0 on map count. Neither team yet to drop a map yet in the Star League. So I mean, looking very good. I mean, looking at the University of Akron Zips esports last year in CCL, they were an 11-6 team, very good team, but honestly, big changes coming in for their team this year. Yes, Peeves is still there. He's their star. He's a very good player for their team. But I mean, when you're looking really at the rest of the team, the rest of his supporting cast from last year is not here. They've got 2 new players in Yak and Chromally, and then also Storm is returning, but Storm didn't really play last year too much with them. So, I mean, very interesting for them in that case. And then when you're looking at the side of Commonwealth University, again, it's they're 1-0, 3-0 map count. But I mean, they had a rough year last year in CCL. Only went 7-10. Not the best year, not the worst year. They definitely could have done a little bit better. But I mean, you're looking at Ventric to really pull things up for this team. They've got some new players coming in to join him into the roster as well. So it's really going to be a case of, is this Akron team going to be as good, if not better, as of a team than what they were last year? Or will this Virginia Commonwealth team really be able to come out and stomp them back in?
Well, it's interesting that you were talking about these two teams and the players that are underneath them, because when you're mentioning Thieves and Ventric on either side, they're going to be the stars of the show. You're looking at the Thieves versus the Ventric kind of battle in this series of a best of 5, because when you have Virginia Commonwealth, yes, they have 3 returning players from the roster from the CCL season last year, but 3 out of the 4 players on this team, they were on the bench last year as well. And you got Juju coming in, from what I understand, new to the competitive play as well for Virginia Commonwealth. So it's interesting to see when you have Thieves and Ventric going up against each other. You talked about the supporting cast. Will they show up for the team? Because they had a strong showing last week in both of their best of 5s, but now it's where we separate the good from the great in week number 2, where we do get the top and bottom halves really solidified in this. So one of these teams will be falling today. One of them will continue with a 2-0 record. It's just, who are we going to see? But we do have the map set as well, Jesse. So if we're talking about this, how do you feel about this? Let's run through it.
Yeah, I mean, the map set's interesting. I mean, we got a Garrison Hardpoint to kick us off, followed by a Moscow Search and Destroy, Then right after Moscow, we head right back into Garrison for that control once again. And if we do end up going the full distance here tonight, it's going to be a checkmate hardpoint followed by standoff, search and destroy. And I mean, standoff, once again, one of those later maps that came into the game a little bit later on this year. So I mean, how much have these teams really been playing this? How much have these teams that were together in CCL last year, because standoff was never a CCL map last year towards the end of it. So
No,
how
it
much
wasn't.
have these teams really practiced standoff, search and destroy? So if we do end up going the full 5 year, I feel like that map could be a really interesting talking point throughout this entire series. But I mean, our first 4 though, I mean, you can't really get much more Cold War than those maps.
Well, I mean, knowing the Call of Duty scene as well, these players, Call of Duty players in general, they're as loyal as ever. I imagine they are going to be practiced as standoff as we're heading towards the end of the season for Cold War. Nothing in my mind will deter me from thinking that standoff is going to be foreign to these players. It's been in the competitive or in Call of Duty for 7 years now, almost reaching 8 years. It's crazy to think about that, but nothing deters me from thinking that these teams will be great on all 5 of these maps. But the Garrison Hardpoint and the Garrison Control are kind of what really put a question mark in my mind, because when you look at the control aspect of Garrison, it's a very defense-sided map. But towards the later end of the season, let's say Challengers, CDL, we started to see these teams kind of bring their own strategies into the defensive side or into the attacking side, and we started to see a lot more success on that half of the map. Whereas in Hardpoint, I'm looking at the submachine guns to just be eating it up. That floor control, the platform control is going to be super important, and that's where the Thieves versus Dino competition comes in. I know I was talking about Thieves versus Ventric, but Dino, he's making a comeback story of his own over on the Virginia Commonwealth University side. He was benched halfway through the season last year, and he's moving in as the captain of VCU this year on his comfortable submachine gun role. So if we're looking at him, he didn't have a bad season last year on what I assume to be maybe a flex role. And he is most likely, knowing Cold War at the start of the season for itself, running an assault rifle in his hands. If we're looking at Dino coming out with a submachine gun this half, he should be showing some serious strengths here on Garrison.
Yeah, I think a big thing too is he might not have been benched necessarily last year. If he wasn't comfortable in his role, he very possibly could have stepped down. But either way, from the bench to getting the captaincy on your chest, you're not wrong at all. He's coming out. He's going to be trying to make a big impression here. And I mean, I feel like you come out and you take down the University of Akron or Akron, you can absolutely come out with a big statement here and solidify yourselves as one of the top teams in this East Division. I mean, talking about this East Division, we have a lot of really good teams. And I mean, we got Albany Valley College. We've seen them last year in CCL. They're a very good team. I wouldn't be surprised at all to see them come out. Our favorite team from playoffs last year, Potomac State College of West Virginia University. That is a mouthful and a half, but that team, they looked very good last year. 0-3 this week though, so I mean, maybe they might be coming out with the new roster as well. So I mean, very interesting to see a lot of these rosters coming back this year. We'll have to see what they come out they can really do in this league as well, because I mean, like we said, it's been a long time since the end of that CCL season, and really, how much have these teams been playing together since then?
Well, it's a whole new year of college or university for some of these players. So, I mean, we got some players who are graduating from high school into the college for their freshman years, some leaving in their senior years. So it's going to be interesting, the shakeups that we see in the rosters, not only here in the NACE Starleague, but in other collegiate leagues as well, because obviously we're seeing some big changes already. I can only imagine when it comes to those heavy hitters. I mean, we see, I guess, Northwood in the back of mind. They're going to be interesting to see what they have, but that's for later. Let's talk about Garrison right now, because Garrison is going to be that map 1 hard point. I think it's time to see if these players are ready to go into it. But Jesse, I need you to highlight a little bit. What are the win conditions? What will solidify these teams for a victory on Garrison Hardpoint?
Well, I mean, if you're new to Call of Duty, welcome. First of all, it's a beautiful place to be, especially in the collegiate level. But Garrison Hardpoint, it's well, any hardpoint, it's gonna be the first team to 250. There's gonna be 5 points on the map that your team, 4 to 5 points on the map that your team want to be able to capture and hold on to for a 60-second increment, and then they move, of course. And every team, they know exactly where each hard point is going to be moving to next, and it's always about the battle of the rotations, especially in Garrison Hardpoint. You're going to be looking at hills 2 and 3. Those are your 2 big money hills here on this map that you really want to be heading towards to try to get the majority of your time, and that's why the breakoffs are oh so important on this map. You really want to solidify a good amount of time on the first hill. We're going to be probably referring to that as P1, P2, P3 as these hills move along. And I mean, you want to get a good amount of time there. You want to be able to flip the spawns out if you're not on the good side to try to solidify those spawns for the satellite for that second hill. Because I mean, that's the biggest hill on this. If you can solidify that time and not get broken on that hill, it's almost an easy 60 seconds for your team right off the rip.
Well, some unfortunate factors as well to highlight for today, because if I'm guessing if you're not new to Call of Duty, you know the Cold War stance and you know how hard it is to get lobbies set up this year as well. We're having some lobby issues, some technical difficulties with the players. So we're going to cut to a quick break before we start this series. When we come back, we're going to get right into the action. So stay tuned for the University of Akron versus VCU University itself. So see you in a bit. We didn't wait too long because those technical difficulties, well, they sometimes can be a little bit snappy. And they were. So we're back here with the NACE Starleague Call of Duty on your Wednesday nights. My name is Seymour, alongside me, Cruz, and this is the University of Akron versus the Virginia Commonwealth University in our match one of the day. The first best of 5. Just dropped my pen, but Garrison Hardpoint is going to be our first map of the day as well. And we get to see these two lead off on a very submachine gun heavy map. So it's going to be very fast paced, very action packed. Cruz, I'm excited for this to be the start of the match too.
Yeah, me as well, honestly. I think Garrison's a great map to really start things off with here today. You guys can see on your left, the University of Akron. On your right, VCU. It's going to be a fantastic match here. I mean, you can already see VCU. They are starting on that preferred side. We were talking about it before the match kicked off here. And really, they want to try to hold on to that left-hand side of the map because that top left-hand side where that green building is, that's where our next hard point's going to go. And that's a spot where they can really lock down a lot of time there.
Dino looking to lay down the law early. He finds a nice double kill to lock down time in this early game. No time to VCU yet, all going the way of Akron, but You see that the Commonwealth University, they are putting a lot of emphasis on the left side of the minimap, making sure they hold this, but a good break from Bagel. He's going to find Green, the opening down to that hill number 2, looking to put the action on the front line, looking to flip spawns as well. Ventric, yeah, finds one before dropping as well, so you do get the flip for the site, but University of Akron, they do what they need to do. They get Green control, and it's going to be good for the rotation.
You can already see though, Akron, not only do they have the green control, but they basically soaked up almost all this time here. They didn't allow any time to the side of VCU. They've got the rotations down pat. Dino with a big chance to win another one. And you know what? We talked about how he got dropped last year. He's back on the submachine gun roll, looking very comfortable on 5 in a row to start this game off. Now 6 in a row, looking to possibly find some streaks right off the rip here. He's going to just lay down, try to play his life for a small bit of time. He's not going to find those streaks, unfortunately, for himself. But still a very good start from the University of Akron. They get a good amount of time on P1, and they get a beautiful rotation into P2 as well.
VCU, they got blessed with this. You get Thieves from the top ropes out of Green. They break into the hill with 34 seconds left, and they stop the streaks of Dino. I mean, talk about how interesting this game would be if Dino found those streaks early in a map like Garrison. But going for the second set into this, a nice shutdown right inside of the Green. Dino's the only one standing, but around a flurry of yellow, it is going to be VCU to shut them down, look to gain the last little bit of scrap time, and push Bagel here in the back of the map.
Well, I mean, right there, that's what you call damage limitation. At that very moment, VCU, they do absolutely everything right. Like you said, they shut down Dino. They flip the streaks back, the spawns back out to the point where they can get it back. Yes, they get blessed with a spawn, but they still win all those big gunfights to be able to have that happen. Now they need to make the long trek across the map, though, because here's the big thing. If you don't win those P2 spawns, you need to make sure you win the P3 spawns. And you can already see everybody on the University of Akron trying to make these big pushes into the back. They want to shut these players down, and so far, so good. All 4 will end up going down, but actually both teams are going to get north-south spawns here, so it's actually going to be VCU that can reinforce this hill quite quicker from the front.
Out from the front line, VCU wins it. Nobody gaining time right now. In fact, it is going to be the clock that's bleeding at the moment for Ventric. Hops in, stops the clock, gets in for time now, snaps to Thieves, but it's going to be a 2-piece from himself. Tweak now, big 1v1 here. Juju, the new kid on the block, he can't find the kill. Instead, it's going to be VCU holding on for scrap time, and look at these, the nukes out of Tweak's gun. It is huge, and it's a very big commotion out here.
That actually works out really well for them too, because not only do they win that from the front and they force the spawn out of Akron, but they're not even really trapped back there now, because a lot of times you see teams rotating from P3 into P4 and they get trapped in the back there, but now they can just get a very easy rotation out through dark. Nobody really there from the side of Akron to be able to shut them down for the time being. And yeah, it's exactly what we're seeing. They get the rotation out, they flip these spawns back on their head, and they're in the perfect position to get time now on this new hill.
Very scrappy, very even between these two. Thieves finds 2, all to VCU right now in the kill feed before Ventric finds that one to shut him down. So they're going to hop into this garbage hill, look to spawn trap this team. Ventric leads the charge back on in. It is going to be back and forth between these two squads. Ventric trying to keep it back into this one, but with the last 20 seconds left, you continue to see University of Akron spawning on the far right of your minimap. You see the lead changes over to the VCU side, and this is where things might get a little bit, I guess, damaging. If you're in the Akron spot, you have to break through this and get to this hill number 5.
I mean, it's a very tight game through the first 4 hills, though, and it's exactly what you want to see here to start off NACE Starleague on this Wednesday. And I mean, you can already see both teams, they're just putting everything to it right now. Ventric's on 5 in a row, though. He's got a chance to try to find some streaks until he gets shut down there. Unfortunately, a little caster curse comes on in. But VCU, they're in the right spot to try to be able to reinforce this hill and hold it from the front. It's exactly where you want to be, because now you can spawn these Akron players out on that far left-hand side of the map. And not only do you spawn them out for this hill, but you can keep them trapped back here going into our next hill as well.
I mean, you had Tweet come alive, and you got Thieves back on 15-11. He's on a 3 spree. You got streaks coming out for both teams, just not able to get over that 7 kill streak to get them the score streaks behind them. It's VCU taking control into the later end of this first rotation, and they are leading the charge into the second set with a heavy hand. Thieves finally drops no streaks for himself. So you are going to see a University of Akron with a pinch 2 for 2 on either side of VCU at the moment. They clear the hill. They get set up for this hill number 1, and this is their chance to bring this game back.
Yeah, they flipped the spawns right back onto the side of VCU, but I was really impressed with VCU through that first set of rotations there. Not only did they get a good amount of time there and bring it back after the rough little bit of a start that they had there, but even on that 5th hill, And they thought they had the University of Akron trapped on that left-hand tank side, but they handled the splits on so well there. They were able to make basically a full 30 seconds. The battle for the new hill is going down now as well, and they're going to be the first team once again to really get a full setup here. Yes, you had Akron set up, but it was so quickly broken that can you really even count that as a setup there? And VCU looking very strong here.
Well, Kramali, along with Juju, he finds Storms, a little bit of a team kill. But, I mean, that's just a sea of yellow in that kill feed. VCU, they have come alive, and they just look like a different piece at the moment. You got Chromali set up inside of Lights with that AR, throwing some shots down range. Chromali gets broken onto this, so University of Akron are going to get the scrap time, but limited to only 5 seconds left. Now it's looking to break through the green. The electrifying Phoebes here. He finds 2. Can he make it a third? Bagel around the corner. He slides on in, but not ready for the early gunfight. So it is Bagel a chance, but he loses the one-on-one on-site time to VCU early. And now if you look at the spawns out from University of Akron, they're going to be spawning in the back left of your mini-map. And with these deep spawns, it is going to take a while for them to get into the mix. But Ventrix to lead them there. He finds one before dropping. Not enough to contest the site.
Love the different play there from the side of VCU. They realized their mistake from the first set of rotations when University of Akron made the full 3-man hit through green. They were fully set up, ready for it this time. Peeves was able to shut it down. Him and Tweet2K right now having fantastic games for the side of VCU here. But you can see now, University of Akron off spawn. They have those close spawns. They can try to reinforce to this hill from the front side. But I mean, VCU's doing a great job of just holding on to this from this side. And they're going to have the rotation battle won as well going in towards our next hill. They've basically taken this game, which was what a 70-point game after our first 4 hills, and have just completely turned it on its head and have just run away with the score here.
Juju. You can play spoiler right here if you can find Thieves there. Not expecting him to take the low ground. So you have the setup right now from VCU inside this hill. And the approach from Akron is just so light in terms. They get dropped by 2 early, so it is going to be a weak hit through tools right now with the full setup from that excellent shot from Juju to find Tweet in the back line. It allows Ventrix to get into the site. The break is through. Can he find Storms? Juju, big 1v1 here, but he can't. He has to hit that reload, and it is going to be VCU able to re-up this hill, get in, eclipse the 200 marker as well, on their way to the victory lap right now with the last 18 seconds left. Finally, Akron, they get the break. But I mean, the damage has been done, and this is going to be hard to come back through.
And I mean, that break was only for, what, 3 seconds before they got broken right back in from VCU. You're absolutely correct. Damage is completely done. Already over that 200-point mark. Once again, you got to hit that score of 250 to be able to win the game here, and VCU is getting very close to being able to do so. And I mean, if you're Akron now, it's pretty much, we got to play perfect COD from this point out, but they're not even inside the hard point. They need to push once again back through this spawn trap, try to get out to get into this new hill, and they just aren't in a great spot. They do finally break on in, but with only 2 players there, and those top side spawns still to the side of VCU, they can just reinforce, hop back into the hill, and it's exactly what they do once again.
227. Tweet on a 4 spree. Kramali looking to be the cutoff player from that 4. Go down. Only 17 seconds left for the side of VCU to take this map 1 on Garrison. They're going to have the early rotation from Ventrix. They are coming up from behind, able to find 1, 2 go down, but make it 3 as Akron, they break right back into this hill. Not out of it yet. Ventrix can't take Kramali the beatdown for the victory. 6 seconds left to take this win. They just have to hop on one last time to take this victory. Storm is going to put that one through, and the nail in the coffin. VCU take Garrison hardpoint. But you know what, Cruz, and I noticed it halfway through. I just didn't want to kind of make it a little bit confusing, but that was actually the sides flipped, and it's going to be Akron to take your map number 1 behind Thieves, the superstar, and make it happen.
You know, I think I noticed that too. I was just like, wait, I thought Peeves was on Akron, but you know what? It happens sometimes. it happens. But nonetheless, Akron with a fantastic first map there. And we're kind of talking about it going into this, and this Virginia Commonwealth team, I think a big thing after watching even just the first little bit of that game there, you can already tell that Dino is actually going to be that player. We were talking about how Ventrix might be that player before the game. It's really got to be Dino. Dino is going to be that difference maker on this team. He needs to make sure that he is that player who's going to be popping off constantly. We saw him have a great start off the rip. That's when you saw the side of VCU get the majority of their time right off the bat, but unfortunately for them, it wasn't enough, and he really slowed down throughout the start of that game. And once he wasn't slaying out the way that he was off the rip, that's when you saw BC, the side of University of Akron, really start to take that game over.
I think it was Tweet in that hill number 3 that was really the difference maker, the nail in the coffin early on that. As soon as he started to heat up in that sequence, I just never saw him stop. I mean, you look at this right now in the replays, he's 23-13 at 135 seconds for his squad. So, like, you got to think about this. He had a great game on the AR side. I mean, Tweet was having a field day out here on Garrison. An excellent map 1 for the University of Akron. And in fact, I do want to apologize for the names in game and for kind of announcing it as VCU all throughout that Garrison. The names were flipped. It was Akron who were on top the whole way through. And yeah, I mean, you're talking about Dino there, Jesse. You're talking about that early side. Maybe if he got the streaks, it would have been a different game throughout the whole thing, but he got shut down and we didn't really see him bounce back after that early shutdown. It was a great start, but as soon as he lost the chance for streaks, I kind of saw him just take a back seat from his team.
Absolutely. I mean, he was 7-1 and then he fell and was what did he finish there? He finished negative, in somewhere in the negatives. I mean, yes, the University of Akron did come alive, and that really probably did end up being a difference maker when it ends up slowing him down there. But he needs to be that player clearly for this team that's turning up. And you're not wrong at all. If he finds those streaks in the early portions of that game, that makes breaking hills 2 and 3 so much easier in towards the later parts of that game as well, that maybe they can find a little bit more success. But unfortunately for him, it just wasn't enough. And honestly, it looked like it was probably one bullet. One more bullet goes his way, he at least gets that first missile.
I mean, it's interesting to talk about that, and it's also interesting to note that Akron, throughout all those sprees that they had, through all those 4 downs that were getting, the full team wipes. I mean, they never found a single streak on their end, or even if they did, they never used a single streak to do that. So that was just convincing. That was straight gunplay from the University of Akron in that map number 1. But we can kind of put that in the past, so we can talk about what's up next. It is going to be Moscow Search and Destroy for a map number 2. And talk about Dino here. He's going to be a key player. That submachine gun role, so crucial to Search and Destroy, just finding those openings. And when you're looking to kind of open that up for a player like Dino, you need to have the main AR Slayer to kind of watch over the back and give him that spacing to take.
Yeah, and especially on a map like Moscow, that SMG player can be such an annoying player on Moscow. There's so many little nooks and crannies you can run through, find your own little routes where you can get on those big flanks, make those difference-making plays, and you hit the nail on the head. It's really going to be Dino who needs to make those plays for this team as that SMG player, as the team captain. Make those shot calls, trust your gut, make those big plays, because clearly Akron's coming out swinging tonight. They don't want to go to 1-1 in this league. They want to start off 2-0. They want to make a difference in this Eastern Division. So it's got to be him. He's got to come out. He's got to make those big plays for his team.
We talked about Moscow all throughout the CCL season, throughout the Challenger season, and really it's kind of evolved over the course of Cold War. And towards now, I'm not really expecting these quick A hits all the time, because we start to see teams favor the B side all throughout it. And when it does happen, that's where those submachine gun players also have a chance to kind of dance around inside the apartments to show what they have, the moves and the movement that they can make throughout that to get in and out as quick as they can with it. I think the attacking side for Moscow is going to be the more difficult side when you do look at it, because the amount of spacing you need to take to get to B alone, it's tough, because the ARs on the defending side, they can set up early, they can shut you down early. It's going to be tough to go through, but yeah, I mean, the submachine gun players are going to be the key to breaking through that.
I mean, that's a beautiful way to say it too, is the way that this map has changed over this year has kind of been crazy. You're not wrong at all. Right off the rip of the year, it was just consistent A hits over and over again. Everybody they're like, hey, you know what? Let's just 4-man hit this over and over again. Everybody just tried to hit it, and teams quickly realized that is not a recipe for success. There's too many spots that the defense can just sit in towards this A side. That's when you started to see teams start to push a player over towards that B side, hit towards apartment a little bit more often. Then the defenses, you got to start respecting it, right? So that's what we started to see as the year went on and on, especially in challengers like you were hinting at there. And I mean, I'm interested to see how that pans out for this as well, because again, we haven't really seen a lot of these teams since the early stages of this year. I'm sure we're going to see a lot more B hits than what we saw in CCL, but you got to think trophy placement's going to be very important. Deciding on where you're going to have your team hit, if you're going to go 4-man hits, if you're going to send like a 3 or a 2-1-1 split across the map on defense, because you really can't afford to just send all 4 players to A and make those full rotations anymore.
I'm glad you're talking about the trophies because the trophies alone can decide whether you want to go to A or B in general. And especially at the start, no team is going to have a trophy. That nade barrage that comes over Eskies, it's going to be dangerous. And it could draw first blood if you're not worry of it on the side of the attacking side. So you have to be careful for that. I oftentimes see teams kind of try to bait those nades out over towards A early, then make a cut through escalators to take control of checkers. But it's not easy to do in the early games. So I think this, what I need to see from VCU if they want to bounce back, that was a tough map number 1. But in this, you can't really be one-dimensional. I need to see that you have strategies and you're willing to execute those strategies all the way through from start to finish. You can't start something and not finish it when you're against a team like Akron, because the Zips, they are going to shut you down if you take it half-heartedly into these attacks. So when I'm looking at VCU early, where they start on attack or they start on defense, I really need to see some dimension to their side, whichever start they have, whether it's sending 3 to one side and 1 to the other, or making a very quick wraparound for a flank, just something different to shake things up.
Oh, and here's a positive thing to think at too, if you're a VCU fan and you're watching this game right now. It's usually a lot of teams that kind of struggle a little bit more on the hard point side. And we're not even saying that they did too badly there. 250 to 107 game. It was very close to the first 4 hills. They just kind of got ran away with towards the end. It was a snowball effect. It was just hill after hill after hill. We're kind of getting strung together. It's very hard once you get put into that blunder, especially on Garrison, to come out of it. But usually a team who is not as great at a hard point tends to be a lot better at a search and destroy map, where you can slow the pace down, you can play to your own strategy here. And I mean, since I kind of gave a quick brief rundown of what hardpoint was earlier on, for those of you who might be new here today watching Collegiate Esports for the first time in Call of Duty, search and destroy, it's going to be the first team 2-6. You're going to be taking turns on the attacking and the defense side, and the first team on the left side will be on attack. The team on the right will obviously be on defense here, and you get 4 lives per round. That's it.
Right off the start, it's going to be Akron for the attack. You see the one player watching the cut through checkers, 3 to push to A. This is that pound for pound bloodbath that we do expect over to the A site. Player number 2, that's going to be Thieves, looking to make the first move. Bagel shuts him down though with a big shot from that Krig, and it's going to cut for the rotation over to checkers to overwhelm Juju here, but Juju tucked away. He's going to peek out, find Stormin, playing for the flawless. Can you shake it up if you're Chromali? You can at least find one. The damage, though, is a little bit too tough to bounce back from. A big round number 1 from VCU. They shut down Akron.
A couple little mistakes there from Akron. I mean, they just left the bomb back at their site. Apparently, they didn't give a care in the world about the wind situations on this map. Yeah, they just completely left the bomb back in its spawn there. Everybody just ran around it. Nobody wanted to touch it there. They decided just to take the head-on gunfights over towards A, and it just was not a recipe for success. And we talked about that before we got into this game. You don't want to just be having those one-dimensional hits where you're sending all 4 players over towards this A site, because look at Akron. They're even set up for it now too. They've got 2 through mid, 2 players over towards this A site. Yes, you might be able to overwhelm those players now if you're the side of VCU, but it's going to be very tough with the defensive positioning that you can have on that site.
There's a big nade from Thieves, able to tag up Dino for a bit to finish that off, and then Tweet to find his back. But you look at Juju, he finds the equalizer off screen, and now it's going to leave Tweet and Chromali all alone. But you look at Chromali's, he's got the flank. He could shut this down before it even starts. They have no idea that he's back there, but all the information to Akron right now. The bomb's going to be going down. Chromali can shut down Juju. Bagel now on the corner. It is going to be Tweet slides around, and Tweet actually gives him the work. Oh my! Akron, big bounce back round off the back of Chromali hitting that flank, but I thought Tweet was dead to rights against Bagel there. You can't let that happen.
I mean, but I feel like that's one of those awkward gunfights though, where he was also kind of turning one way, and then the player came out, and it was just one of those situations where it's like, oh man, I gotta shoot my gun down. I'm just in an awkward spot. And you sometimes just end up losing to those players. It happens to everybody. So, you know, we'll give them a pass on that one. But if it keeps happening, that's when we're gonna have to start ticking boxes off and start saying, hey, you know, it can't be missing gunfights like that. But you know what? You're allowed 1 a game for sure. This time through, though, University of Akron, they want that B side. And I mean, it's wide open right now. Only 1 player really in the close vicinity here for the side of VCU, and he's not even going to challenge inside of it. Juju's just going to back off. Pubes should get a very quick and easy bomb plant down. But here's the thing now. VCU has a very good chance of being able to pinch all 4 of these players towards this backhand side of the boulevard.
look at the reaction from VCU when the bomb goes down. You got a player hitting Boulevard. Storm's going to get caught off by Ventrake. You do get the trade to Bagel. From Molly, lying down onto this garden. Transitions for a second onto Ventrick, leaving one player alone. It's going to be Juju, who was back inside police station. He's inside the apartments with a Craig, not the weapon of choice for the close quarters. And Akron trapped in a corner. They bite back. They fight tooth and nail to get out of this. And look at Kamali here, just tucked away. Ventrick, he gets down Boulevard, but the fact that you can't see Kamali there, you're not able to feed that information to player moving through checkers. It costs him. He pops up. He takes the double kill, and that puts Juju with that Craig in a very, very unfortunate situation.
Yeah, and the kill on Bagel there, that's the big part of that round. Once you find that kill onto Bagel on top police, it just completely opens everything up. Everybody can just look back towards the middle of the map because you know your backside is completely cleared out. Stops any chance of the pinch that we were talking about earlier in that round from being able to happen. And VCU, they're going to make a very quick hit towards the Eskies, but actually just try to run right down. And now here's a situation where you've got two players behind you. You might get shot in the back here if you're VCU.
1-for-1 Juju, able to find one before dropping. Thieves, he's tucked away over towards A, so even if they rotate this bomb, are they going to check that, or is it going to be the pinch? Kamali's able to find one, and they tuck away back into gold offices. You got the player through Askies, and there's Thieves. The player I was highlighting to shut down that rotation. He takes down Dino. He drops the bomb. Now it's Ventrix in a 1v1. He knows that Thieves is going to be up there. He's going to be taking the long way around. I love this play from Ventrix. It's able to kind of recuperate your mind and take a better hit to this, but in retaliation, Thieves, he's going to hightail it out of there. He's going to move over towards that hill number 2, and both players making pretty risky plays here.
I like the play from both, though. Ventrix just makes that full wrap all the way out through Eskies. It really makes Peeves start to think about it, but Peeves, he's checked and cleared out this B site, and he's not going to play the 50-50. He just decides, hey, you know what? He's probably putting this bomb down over towards A, but he doesn't get there fast enough. That bomb will go down, and now Ventrix, once again, he can just make the quick wrap out. Peeves doesn't see him, and he's just going to stick to the fuse.
Oh, no. Ventrix is too far away. I mean, you might as well chalk this round. There's no way you're going to get that. So, I mean, Ventrix tries to play ring around the rosy with Akron, but in fact, I think that Thieves was playing that good. You look at that rotation back over to B to play for that 50-50, but as soon as he sees that the bomb's not going down there, he holds down on his left stick, he keeps running for it, and he makes sure that there is no time against him when VCU is putting down that bomb. So, I mean, you gotta give it to Ventrick. He made the right play to wrap around, but Thieves just 2 steps ahead of him.
That big wrap from Peeves is what ends up winning them that round. And that's a wrap you can make on defense, but clearly Ventrix, that's not a wrap you can really make too often on offense once you get that bomb down, especially on the spot that he put it down at. Maybe if he puts it down to watch it towards escalators, he has enough time barely to get around and check that to get him off of the bomb. But not going to be the case there. It was just not down in the right situation at all for them to be able to check that. And a huge hit coming in from Akron here, right off the rip. All 4 players just running straight through the middle of the map. They'll find 2 picks very quickly. Ventrix will at least be able to trade one out, but it's still going to be a 3-on-1 towards this B site. Bomb will go down, and it's just Dino all by himself. He drops. And I mean, that's such a quick, dominant round from the side of University of Akron.
When we talk about how dangerous this Akron squad can be, you know Juju's been playing on that half wall all series long, so what do? They rush it, they overwhelm him, and then they keep that forward momentum right over into that hill number 2 hard point. And they just keep the kills going through them. They full-on dominate the kill feed. They don't allow any room for thought for VCU, and they make sure that pressure is as strong as ever.
It's kind of crazy, too, to look at the fact that they are up 4-1 right now, and they have a player in Storm who is 0-4. He has just been baiting for the team, I guess, throughout this entire game so far here. It probably doesn't look like 0-4 on his score sheet. I'm sure he's gotten a couple of shots in, maybe a couple assists, which will, of course, count for EKIA here in the game of Cold War. But once again, VCU back on their offense. They're going to do something a little bit different this time through. Everybody trying to hit up in through goal, but
Kamali!
Such an awkward gunfight!
Oh, Ventrick got away with that. Basically away with murder, but it doesn't matter at all. Dino 1v3. He's stuck inside that courtyard. They know exactly where he is. You gotta imagine Peeves is about to put this one away. Dino catches some good timing. 1v2. If he can find Tweet down here, it's going to be a good situation for him to be in, but that Craig, so strong for the setup. He anticipates the flank around 5-1. University of Akron, they've grabbed the Bulls by the horn, and they are ready to just throw it down.
It doesn't seem to matter what they do right now. It just, every single time, the side of Akron has just an answer for it. We saw that first round. The only big mistake that we really saw from Akron in this game was leaving that bomb back at the start of their first offense, because everything since then has just been very dominant from their sides. These rounds haven't even really been too close. I think what the closest round since that first one was the 1v1 between Peeves and Ventrix in like round number 4. Besides that, everything else has been fairly blowouts here for the side of Akron, and I mean, they couldn't ask for anything better. And now we see very similar to their first offense, big hit going towards the safe side.
Bomb in hand through Askies. They're gonna cut through checkers. Juju, can he stand tall this time? Peeks out for 1, but that's about it. Drops the bomb and leaves them even. You're gonna recover it, and you look at VCU. In retaliation, they actually have a flank here. Player number 7 is Ventra. He finds 2. Able to swap to the Demoni. Can he take down Storm? You have the collapse there, and they stay alive here in the search and destroy. An excellent job. It all starts with Juju finding that first kill into Kromali. Really stuns the attackers in their spot and allows Ventrix to prey on them from behind.
Yeah, once they got the call out that all 3 were still down there, that's when Ventrix makes the big hit, pushes all the way through the offensive spawn, gets into the back of glass, and he's able to find those players so easily, especially once you're shooting them in the back. I mean, Ventrix, very respectable game from him right now at 10-4. He just needs a little bit of help from his VCU boys. Bagel, 1-5. You need to step it up a little bit here. Dino, we talked about you in the first game. Very, very good player, but he's going to be the difference maker. He needs to make sure he's getting this bomb down. Yes, he is that bomb carrier. It's a little bit harder of a situation when you're the one planting the bomb, but you need to get these numbers up just a little bit here.
Well, here you go. He's leading the charge right into A. He finds Storm. Peeves pops up from that brick wall, but it's just not enough. He's able to take down Bagel, but he loses his whole team in retaliation. 1v3 again. Kromali this time for Akron. Looking to put 3 on the board for VCU. He's stuck in courtyard. You got the time against you. You got the lives against you. Looks like first contact's gonna be Juju here. Sneaks in behind. He finds a 2v1 now, and a Krig.
Ooh, that's
for
big.
his job.
Just being able to get this Krig alone is so big, but you can see the rotation from the side of VCU comes in. Both players now are going to hit it towards the right-hand side of that A bomb, and it just makes it that much tougher because they know exactly where he is. He's coming up from that Esky side. He needs to make this big flank through, and him jumping around should give an audio cue here to Ventrix, and it does exactly that. Turns around just in the nick of time, finds that kill. I mean, that's 2 very clean rounds from VCU, possibly looking to make a comeback here now.
It's right there in this whole kind of squad push to A. You did see Dino leading the charge. You got Bagel to find the player in back garden, and then Dino just rush on in, find Storm. He's been playing in screens all game long, so they expect these situations from Akron to set up over at the A site. They know that Peeves is going to be over on that half wall. They turn around, they take him down, and then Kromali playing solo over towards the B site. He has to make the push. He makes it interesting. A 2v1 finds that. That's about it when it does come down to it. Now you're looking over towards A. Same thing for Akron, a 4-on-3 for this site. You have the bomb in hand of Storm. The pop-up from Ventrix, it drops the bomb from behind. So if you're Thieves, you have to find a kill and get out to grab that bomb, but it doesn't happen. Instead, it's going to be 3 down for Akron. VCU fighting back from a 5-1 situation, looking to be 5-4 here unless you get some heroics from Tweet. That's just not going to happen whatsoever. VCU, they keep it going. They're bringing this one back 5-4.
I say, oh no, not because they win the round, but because they don't feed that final kill to Ventrix. He's 1 kill off of finding those streaks. You're in a 4v1. Very rarely are you going to lose a 4v1 there. Maybe throw a couple bullets into him, but let Ventrix, who is so close to the player as well, swing wide, find that final kill. Now he's going to have to try to find it here in this round. But just having that artillery strike in the ping could have been so huge in this round of finding that information. Now you don't want Ventrix to play this round any slower. You need him to continue to play at this pace that he's playing at. You want him to push up and be that leader on this team. And it's exactly what we're going to see. First player up in towards this site, but a much slower hit from VCU here towards the A site than what we've seen previously.
Slower than both teams that we saw. I don't think we've ever seen a squad yet in this Moscow Search and Destroy just stop right over there on that fountain hardpoint. But so what we're going to do, you're looking at Juju to collect the information for them through Eskies in case they're pushing it. But alas, you're going to see VCU pushing in here. Ventrix onto that brick wall. You're looking at him to grab these shrieks. Bagel finds Storm now. That's going to leave the opening for the submachine guns. That assault rifle player pivotal to allow Ventrix to get in behind. He finds one. He gets the shriek, and he leaves the advantage as well in lives. Kromali's going to drop to the lurking Juju over in checkers. Now you're looking at Peeves alone. 1v3 again. Akron falling apart at the seams. Can Peeves make the clutch play to put away this Moscow? You don't want to see it in round 11, especially considering Ventrix He's got those streaks to look for. Dino shutting him down. No, it's going to be Peeves to hit the floor. Finds two. 20 seconds left. Juju 1v1. Can Peeves do it? Can he put away the Moscow? Peeves tagged up Juju, though. He's not. He'll do it. And Peeves, he gets the clutch for a 6-4. You're not going to see a round 11 here.
The 1v4 ace to close it out in round number 10, just as you thought. Ventrix was taking over this game. We talked about him before, we'll talk about him again. Peeves comes out, 1v4 ace, round number 10, wins the game here. And we get to see basically all 4 kills here in the final kill cam.
Right.
As we saw the first 2, he's going for the 4th here. And just the ego chow onto Juju at the end. He didn't think he would be ready for the rechow. He was not. He wins that big gunfight. Huge round from Peeves there to close that game out, because it was not looking good if VCU won that round.
I mean, that's interesting, the thought process of Juju there. Like, the fact that he slides out through Eskies when he has the AR set up. I'm not sure where the bomb got planted for. Was maybe expecting to relocate to get a better eye on that bomb. But, in fact, Juju pushes out Peeves, tagged up, makes the ego chow, comes away with it in a big round. I mean, Akron, if they give up that round 10 to push you around 11, you talk about Ventrix. He had those streaks, and the amount of utility for VCU alone could have won them that round 11. In fact, that the ability to just link all 5 rounds together to get them there, it was a huge comeback for VCU. But when you talk about a superstar in Peeves, a returning player from last season of CCL, from last season of collegiate play as well, really led this team to a whole lot of victories, and it looks like he's not going to slow down this season.
I think another big talking point as well, looking into this game, Colin, is when you're really looking at this game, and I hinted at it in round number 9, but you got to think that, yes, VCU, they choked that last round. There's no easy way to say it. That was a choke. But if you have those streaks going into that round as well, I mean, it could have made that round just that little bit easier for yourselves there as well. Instead, you have the likes of Ventrix, who's that player who's pushing all the way up the map. He was not in the greatest position. Yes, it was a big 1v4 from Peeves. You can't take that play away from him, but you got to think, you throw those streaks to him one round earlier, maybe they might have just made that difference in that round. Maybe you find Peeves with the streak.
It's not even that. I think that was a big misplay from the side of VCU to allow Peeves to have so many sight lines, so many 1v1s. There's not a single trade. I mean, Ventrix goes down. He was on an island, but everything that followed that Ventrix kill, Dino, he made the aggressive play to take a 1v1 through screens. Bagel was peeking out through that courtyard on A to try to take the long sight lines with that Craig. It's just so many 1v1s that were not tradable on VCU. And you talk about a choke, that's a choke, because they had every right to win that round, and they crumpled up their ball of paper and they threw it out the window for that. And alone, Juju in that 1v1 at that to slide through Eskies like that, that's very bold, very telling on that 1v1 pressure that's on him. Peeves, he's been there day in and day out, but Juju, new to the competitive play, new to the collegiate play, it looks like the pressure just got to him in that last round. Now, telling if they maybe got to that round 11, who knows what they might have had. They were going back to attack if they win that round, so if they get the bomb down, they have the streaks to watch for the defuse, but it didn't happen. Peeves, he showed up, they shut them down, and I mean, going into this control, all momentum is going to be in favor of Akron after that.
Yeah, and that's the scary part, right? Because now you have a very good chance that Akron can kind of, you saw their dominance once already on Garrison. Now we're heading towards another respawn. It's going to be control this time through. And then this is where you can really start to kind of get into that scary situation of, man, we just choked that last map so hard. We definitely could have come back. We could have swung all that momentum back into our favor. Now we need to look, and we need to try to hit the biggest of regains right now as we go to head in towards this control. Because if you let the University of Akron, say Akron comes out here and wins their first offense, that's when something can get really, really out of hand here, because VCU, they could just lose all confidence at that point.
Well, you talk about like X factors into it. I know it happens a lot in the CDL. They're talking about X factors of players, but you talk about when a game just doesn't go your way and you have that feeling that that's going to solidify this, and that round 10 clutch from Peeves, that might have just put the game in the coffin for VCU, but I don't want to see that happen. I mean, Garrison, you look at that hard point, it was very dominant from Akron in the mid half to the later end of it. But at that start, you had a little spark of energy from VCU, from Dino, in fact, on that submachine gun roll that we were talking about. If they can find that footing that they had in the early game and hold on to that here in this control, you could sneak away a few games, take this control, and move into the later ends of this. Because, I mean, reverse sweeps, they happen all the time in Call of Duty. I mean, it all starts here. But you were right. You need to make that huge regain just to be able to get the start going.
Yeah, and I mean, you're absolutely right. Reverse sweeps, they do happen all the time. But now here's my question for you, though. If you're looking at VCU, are you putting this all on Dino right now? Because clearly Ventrix is playing. He's playing very well.
Oh, yeah.
Do you think it's got to be Dino that comes out and just pops off from this map to really help solidify them to come back into the series?
You know, people, and I mean, you and me both. I mean, we talked about the submachine guns on a Garrison, how they need to be eating to make sure that you have all like the map control that you can ask for on this map. But a lot of it is coming from those assault rifle players. And I feel like the assault rifles on VCU, they're very hit or miss on these maps so far. I mean, same with Dino on that. But you know, you have Ventrix able to make get the job done on submachine gun. And if those ARs are able to provide the spacing for Ventrix to make it happen, if all those players are kind of playing at the form that they want to win this and they're going to win this, then, I mean, it's all on that. You have your captain Dino, as he's more than just a submachine gun slayer. He's going to be the kind of, I guess, the glue to hold them all together when it comes down to that. And if you're making Dino feel comfortable, he's going to make sure that the comms and everything's cool, calm, and collected. So yes, a lot of it is going to be on Dino for the submachine gun plays to make sure you have map control on Garrison. But a lot of it is coming off of, will they make him comfortable enough?
I mean, that's a great point. And you got to think that that's something that every single player on the side of Commonwealth right now, they need to be looking at. You need to make sure you're getting your players as comfortable as possible. But here we go, loading into the map. Game number 3 will be the start of a possible reverse sweep, or will we have Akron put this away here in a 3-0 fashion?
Oh, Ventrix, highlight player here, makes the wrap around the tank, finds one. Is he expecting the player from behind? No, he's not. It's Peeves, but 3 players go down. Can he play spoiler to the B side? He's gonna maybe just tuck himself away, look for the flank, allow some time to get capped. Maybe give up a tick as well. Dino expecting it, shuts him down with aggression. Coming out through lights is gonna be Storm to keep away from this first tick at B. With that nade, you get progress to this B site, and you're looking at Akron. They're struggling to get on here. They need to get a good group, and look at these flanking plays here. Storm's leading the charge from behind with Kamali on that assault rifle. The full collapse is there. Kamali finds 2, Storm from behind, and that's 3 down for VCU.
And now here's the scary part. This is where Akron can now put their full force forward and try to pin these players back in their spawn. It's really going to be up to Ventrix right now to get his team out of this spawn trap. Needs to find a couple kills, gets a blessed timing there, but Tweet2K with a big win underneath. And that's completely going to slow that offensive push down once again here from VCU.
He's just going to sit and wait for the B side. When you talk about in hardpoint for Garrison, that garbage hill, how much you can spawn trap in the back of the map, well, same thing happens here on this, but big break. 3 kills go the way of VCU. They're able to get back onto this B site, find a second ticket progression. You look at your mini-map in the bottom left corner, and you got Ventrix who's playing spoiler to all these players trying to get out of their spawn. Thieves goes down, 3 takes go through, add a minute to the clock, and that's going to give VCU a lot to work with now.
And yeah, University of Akron, they kind of needed to just chalk that one a little bit sooner. Yes, you were trying to play for a little bit of exits there, but now you're putting yourselves in a rough spot here onto A, where you're giving VCU a good chance to be able to really string these 2 hills together. It looks like they're going to try to hit this with 2 players from the top, 2 players coming in through bricks. And it's really just going to come to the fact of, can they find all these kills in the back? And Dino and Bagel find 2 big ones right off the rip. And that's just going to leave Chromali all by himself, a 4 down, and a perfect break from VCU, and they can just stack this point now.
Flawless. Stack it. Look at Ventrix. He's going to, once again, try to play spoiler, but he's going to drop to Storm. So if you're Akron, you got to put the pedal to the metal to get onto the site, because time is ticking against you. Tweet's going to be the closest one to get on. He goes down. That's VCU. Comfortable transition from A to B. Flawless as ever. They get that 1 round below their belt. They get a regain from the maps 1 and 2. And this is a very different squad already. They're looking cool, calm, and composed here in map number 3.
And honestly, a big gunfight win there too. Just winning that first gunfight out from Bagel to really give them that man advantage in that 4v4 as they were trying to retake that B site for themselves there. Just you can't be underestimated, or sorry, the A site. It can't be underestimated how big that gunfight is there for him to win that, because what that does is it completely shakes up the defense. They need to turn around, look all different ways, as opposed to just watching the one angle that they were assigned. So a huge break off for themselves there as they are attacking towards the A site. They get that one done and dusted, and now once again back on the offense here for the side of University of Akron. They need to try to answer back with an offensive win of their own, and we talk about it all the time on this map. Offense is so much harder to win than the side of defense is.
And a lot of it comes off the breakoffs. I mean, look at that. You get Peeves trying to take green control. He hops up. He gets traded. Then you get trades on point. The back and forth split is going to provide University of Akron with less of control over towards the B side. So they're going to have to fight back there. You get control of B so far. You lose out, though. Juju finds Storm from behind, trying to force on through. Tweet somehow slides across, but he's going to get punished by Dino finally. And that's where Bagel and Ventrix comes into play. They push on through the dark, and they are going to find the rest of them, clean things up, and look at that. Ventrix not wasting any time to push into these spawns, find these players coming out of this. He's going to take up Storm. I love this play right now. He cleans him up finally. Bagel to back him up, and this is excellent job from the VCU. As you can see, Ventrix, he's just able to fly when the ARs give him the openings.
Ventrix on this map giving me some serious Abizi vibes right now. The way that he's running around, just being a little menace on the map. Some might even call him a tiny terror right now, because I mean, he is in your spawn. He is the #1 priority right now for them. Yes, you want to get on the point and stop the clock, but you need to get this guy out of your spawn, because he's just going to keep coming up behind you and shutting you down. I believe they shut him down just on a 5 spree of himself there. So I mean, at least they get that. But if you're Akron here, you've only got 15 seconds left. You got to hop back onto one of these hills. At least stop the time to give yourselves a chance to win this round.
14 seconds. The flood coming in. Ventrix goes down. Bagel, though, for the trade on site. So time's ticking, and it's ticking fast. Now VCU looking for the second below the belt. Now his time's going to be stopped at 10 seconds. On the dot almost. It's 9.9 Juju. He can spoil the fun for them, but you do have the backup. It's Tweet from behind to allow Akron to take control for this site. I love how VCU, they're not giving this up, and they're not giving too much for it either. Bagel's going to swamp on out. He does drop, but Ventrix winning the fight's on point. You have to hop on that. 5.7 seconds. You need to get to this hill if you are the University of Akron, and it doesn't seem like they're getting a whole lot going for them. But Tweet, I like this play from him. He's going to split the attention. He's going to go over to A, force the rotation out of a few players of VCU, and this is going to give Akron a chance now to bring this one back.
He finds a big opening there, and like you said, it gives them absolutely a chance to be able to bring this round back themselves. But the big thing they got to be worried about now, though, is the fact that they've given up full streaks to Bagel. I didn't think he got them from the amount of kills that he had, but it must have been because he was sitting on the point, getting those objective kills that gives them enough points towards getting them. And now you got Akron. They can try to force you back, continue in their spawn, and this could work out very well for them too, because if they hop on, they could also force these streaks out from the side of VCU early on as well.
You gotta think about the lives. 8 lives to 8 dead, even between the two, and a minute to work with. Thieves, he's got an opening. He's unaware. 3 go down on the side. You look at Akron, 5.5 seconds, and they're bringing this back. No respawns for the Rams, and they're down to 3 players left. Thieves is playing spoiler now into this backline, right in their spawns. You gotta take away this site. You force out the shrieks. But you got 1 player left. I'm not a big fan of that shriek usage, considering it's a 6v1 right now. But I mean, you do you at the moment. VCU, they were feeling themselves, but they gave a little bit too much to Akron, and it's gonna cost them a round.
To be fair, and you know me, I love nitpicking streaks, but it was a 4v8 when he attempted to use the streaks. But I love the play from Akron there, actually. Not just the fact that they forced out the streaks, but they know that the streaks are coming. You know Bagel has them. So what Akron ends up doing is they just full send 3 players into the spawn of VCU to not even give them a chance to make their way out of their spawn. Bagel, yes, he starts to use that streak, but gets dropped immediately as he starts to call in that cruise missile. So now you only have 1 streak if you're VCU here on this offense. And I mean, if I'm being completely honest with how their first offense went, they might not even need to use it here. But it's still nice to have in your back pocket. But a beautiful round from Akron. You force one of those streaks out, and you win a round that you only had, what, 2 seconds left when you were...
It was 5.5.
Yeah, it was something very ridiculous. And they get that extra minute, and they're able to force the round win out for themselves. Crazy stuff. They flip that round on a dime.
I know we're into round 3, but I'm just, there's so many mistakes out of VCU there. The fact that they rotated off of B in general to go clear that 1 player on A, but it cost them that, and now you're looking at this. You have to win an attacking round, or I mean, I guess both attacking rounds have been won now from either side. So from now on, you could win your defensive force to round 5. And you're looking at Thieves. He doesn't want to give another attacking round up. He is just snapping on these players. He's got 7 in a row. He locks down that artillery barrage. Finally goes down to Bagel. But I mean, you do have the streaks now even on either team.
A much better defense here from Akron so far. Yes, lives are still very even here, but they did a much better job of slowing down that initial push from VCU. But as I talk about that, VCU will find a couple in succession. They can now hop onto this B site, and I think we're going to see an adjustment coming from Akron this time through, because the last time they just completely gave up they didn't give up the B site. They just allowed them to get B and then transition it over into A. But actually, they will hit this one more time here. It's not going to be enough, and maybe they haven't learned from their mistakes, because now VCU, they have a chance to just be able to string these two hills together once this hill finishes coming through.
And Juju's gonna lock it down. Minute 30 now on there. You look at Kromali, unaware right now is VCU as Kromali in the back line, but he throws some shots down at Ventrix, almost gets turned on, but you're calling for the players to shut him down now. They have to hunt down Kromali before they can make anything else happen, and there you go. He goes down. You look at Juju in the back, he finds Storm as well. It's gonna pull the player out of green to go take him down in that 1v1 tweak. He is gonna find that, snaps to Bagel as well, shuts down this attack so far. Look at the SMGs now flying on in through bricks. As they get shut down now, it is going to be University of Akron set up for this A site.
And this is where breaking into A can be so tough. This is once you don't have that forward positioning from your submachine gun players to try to break on into this square where you see Peeves defending right now. That's why you can see VCU putting so much pressure on this start of the map, because they need to break into this to open up the front side for them to be able to pinch on into this hill. It's what we saw them do on their first offense. They will finally find a couple of kills in succession. They can move into Cobble, they can move into the front, but Kromali still top green. He's going to be a player and a menace to deal with.
And instead of University of Akron just setting up inside bricks, putting one player over towards that back crate, they push all 3 players that were defending the site back over towards the left side of the minimap. They clean up the backside, and then they force on green with Storm tucked away in that. But a few kills now from VCU. Their attack leading into this site. Thieves playing alone, playing that slow burn back into it. Juju's going to shut him down. You're getting some progression. Your lives are even. Ventrix spotting the players off rotation as well. This is again VCU. They can put it away. They get the streaks on out. 19 seconds left. And they're going to push it as far as they can before getting back into this. Juju does fall, and the flank comes through from Kamali. A huge play from Akron to shut down the players on site. No respawns on VCU. Only 3 players left. It doesn't seem like they can touch, because you still got Kromali tearing away at that backline as he is just waiting for the rotation to push on through. It looks like Akron, they are going to come away with this defensive round, but very close, very tight. Each control round are neck and neck.
And at the very least, VCU, yes, you don't win that round. You force the streak out, though, and they still have their streak here on this, for their defense as well. And I would imagine it gets used in a very similar fashion if we do see that B zone go away very quickly once again. But I mean, you got to give that round up to Kromali. Yes, he's not the player who finds the streaks that end up helping them win that round, but his positioning top green consistently throughout that round, being able to play his life, find those kills, and then also finding that big 2-piece at the end there, following up the streak. He waits the perfect amount of time for both players to leave top green again. They don't expect him to be coming across that sky bridge. He gets in, he shuts down those 2 players from the front, almost gets the third as well. Huge round from Kromali, helps them close that out, and honestly a big defensive stand there from the side of University of Akron.
And on top of that, you have to look, this could have easily been a 3-0 for VCU on every round, but instead Akron are just, they have that clutch factor behind them. Now looking to take another attacking round off of this to shut down VCU in a 3-0 fashion. This is where they can end it. You have to win a defensive round, send it to a round 5. You have to push this to around map 4 in general if VCU wants to stay alive in this series. But on defense, they've struggled before. Ventrix trying to make the snap around, but he's going to go down to Tweet, sitting on top of that floating tank. You find 2 in succession. And now really, you can take some map control if you're Akron. You can set up maybe for a snowball over towards the A site, and that's exactly what they're doing. In turn, Dino has slipped through the cracks. He's able to get behind, maybe play spoiler to a few teams, but he's only able to throw some shots down, do a little bit of damage. He's not able to find any kills. This is almost picture perfect for the University of Akron.
This B zone's done. And if you're looking at the positioning of VCU right now, I think they're fully expecting the rest of University of Akron to make a play in through Cobble, because that's generally what you see them do. But it looks like Akron, they're still just trying to bait them out, trying to find a couple of these players on the side of VCU to get a little bit too aggressive here, find those kills so that you can make this play. And as the rotation comes in from VCU, they had it right the first time, because now Akron's going to make a big 3-man hit through the back.
Bagel, he spots it, but it's too late. Tweet's going to take him down. Now you look at Dino. Sitting through, and all the players rotate off. Got the pinch forming out of here. Thieves is going to take down Bagel again off of spawn. That's going to delay the streaks to get into this site as Bagel has to come out again onto this. You got Storm set up, just watching these players from through. I can't believe the Sack hasn't even reached the A site yet because they're just minutes away and moments away from taking this down. Dino and Ventrix, they're able to find two. Now the flood back into the site. Are you expecting to push in? No, it's going to be Thieves to take you down. Tweet in the backline. You got Dino tanked up from his teammate, able to take away Thieves, but not able to find a second one. Still Akron in full control of this control as they're locking down the A site. It's do or die now from VCU as they push on back. You might expect the streak to come down from Bagel, but I can't expect it. No, here it comes.
It is.
The streak from Bagel. Here's the flood on in from VCU. Ventrix loses out onto that one, but Bagel finds two with the artillery strike.
It's at least going to be able to shut that push down for the time being, give them a little bit of time left, but time's not really their issue right now. The fact that they're down 20-10 in lives is where the big issue comes in at, because, I mean, in a minute, you know that Akron can take that life count and just completely flip it and run away with this game right now.
I know, might find a few, but you do have a flank. That's Thieves. Playing spoiler to this team all game long. The clutch factor of Akron is there, 6 lives to 18. You think this is all but over for Virginia Commonwealth University. Akron 3-0 sweep them in match number 1 of the night. But I have to say, man, that score does not tell the tale that we just saw. All the way from start to finish. I mean, you forget about that hard point because, I mean, at the beginning of that hard point, it was neck and neck, but towards like the later end of that first rotations when you saw Akron really take control of that series. I mean, that search, it was lights out from Akron until VCU decided to wake up and play some search. And in that control, every single round was so close, Jesse.
I mean, you look at this and you have to think that this whole series has just been a series of mistakes from Virginia Commonwealth University. They made a lot of mistakes in that search and destroy early on, which ended up costing them a lot of rounds and giving a big lead to the side of Akron. And then when you look at that control, and you're not wrong at all when you said this earlier on in the control, every single round, maybe outside that last round, was a winnable round for the side of
Could have been 3-0.
VCU. Yeah, and the crazy part is yes, it could have been a 3-0, but because Akron's able to turn it on its head and consistently just keep bringing these games back, and we say it all the time in CCL, but if you give some of these teams an inch, they're going to take a mile, and it's exactly what Akron does there.
I mean, you talk about the clutch potential. I mean, the amount of mental toll it takes every single time you're losing a round that close to Akron. It has to be troublesome when you're looking at VCU. And in that last round, you can see that it outweighed them towards the end. Akron, they set up, they played their game that last round of control, and they dominated it just in and out of the field. I'm very excited to see what Akron could do for the rest of the season. What they're showing me here against VCU is very calm, composed squad. I mean, you talk about that search and destroy was the closest one, but again, they started on such a high level that even though that comeback was coming through for VCU, they had the comfort rounds to give away so that they can make that clutch. And then Thieves, he just shows up, he gets a 1v4 clutch in that round number 10. You gotta be talking about this team, full of superstars, full of potential. And the same goes for VCU. They have a lot of potential over this. This is only the start of the season. So I'm excited to see where these two teams grow.
And I think if you're looking at VCU especially, I know we talked about a lot of mistakes, but you got to think if they were able to 3-0 them in that control, the amount of momentum that they could have brought with them in towards the back half of that series, I mean, it could have gone anywhere, because I mean, Checkmate Hardpoint, one of those maps where it really, you probably would have been a toss between these two teams with how that Garrison played out, and then a standoff search and destroy. We talked about it all the time, but that's another one of those maps where it's really a toss up at this stage of the year on who's going to be able to take these maps. And you know what, University of Akron, they did what they needed to do. They got the job done in the first 3, but man, if it got to the back half, I mean, you got to think the VCU with the momentum could have been a scary team.
And while we're waiting for this interview to come on through, I mean, there's a few things to talk about, including the standings that we were kind of matching up, because both of these teams, after week number 1, they were 3-0 in the map count, 1-0 in the record. Now, Akron, they are 6-0. on a 2-0 record. And you look at VCU, they dropped to a 3-3 and a 1-1 record. So, like, you're looking at both of these teams. I said this is where the good get separated from the great. And right now, University of Akron, from what I saw, they looked great. They could look even better in the coming rounds. So it does sound like we are going to be getting Thieves into this for the interview. And while we wait for him, I mean, Jesse, anything to highlight from this series that just gets you excited for the rest of the day?
I mean, that 1v4, man, that was absolutely insane. And we're going to have to ask him about it. This is the player I was really hoping that we were going to get to come into an interview with here as well. And it's perfect. We have him on screen here. So, Peeves, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Perfect. I mean, dude, can we just talk about that 1v4 really quick in the search and destroy? That was some unreal stuff in that round number 10. Just talk about what was going through your head going into that round.
Yeah, well, I knew the one guy after he played. I thought he pushed into green, and I saw the guy on plat, and they just played it wrong, and everything worked in my favor that round.
I mean, it really did. Every single gunfight that you had was a 1v1. But I want to ask you too, because like aside from this game, you guys looked great. You looked very dominant. But coming into this season, you had a couple new faces coming to your roster as well. So what you're forming for this season, what's the thought of the Akron Zips coming into the season of collegiate?
I think we could have a really great year. We have a couple more guys still that aren't with us today that could be there, and this is still coming off like only like one scrim together today, so I look forward to the future.
I'm super excited to see what happens. And aside from VCU, from that 3-0, I mean, are there any takeaways that you guys have?
I think we looked pretty good. I think there's a couple mistakes, just small like miscommunications that could clear some things up. Besides that, I think we look good.
I like that. Jesse, anything?
I mean, honestly, just a very dominant series, and in that first hard point especially as well. I just kind of wanted to get your take as well. It was very tight through the first 4 hills, and you guys kind of just took over the game. What was the big difference maker for you guys that really like gave you guys that boost to really help you take over?
Yeah, that first hard point too. This is our first time all playing like on campus together, and I know a lot of us had all of our settings messed up to start the game. We started out down by 40 and came back, but once everybody got rolling, it was better. But there was a lot of mistakes, just like technical difficulties to start the game there.
And after this, a dominant 3-0 victory, you have to look at the other weeks as well. Now, in the Eastern Conference, are there any teams that you really are kind of looking forward to playing? Anybody kind of catch your eye?
Yeah, I mean, I don't recognize that because we didn't play too many of the teams last year. But I think I've scrimmed Stockton one time this year, and I think we lost to LVC last year in TESPA. We didn't play them in CCL, but in TESPA we lost to them. So look forward to playing them again too.
I'm excited to see that matchup as well. Before we let you go, any shout outs that you want to kind of give to the stream?
Yep, shout out to all the teammates. We got Kermali, Storm filling in today, and Tweet's a new guy here we're all pretty excited to play with.
You'd love to see it. Well, oh, sorry, Jesse.
I was just going to say they looked fantastic today. So, I mean, you guys are definitely somebody who we're going to be keeping our eye on throughout the rest of this season here for the NACE Starleague.
For
Appreciate
sure.
that. Thanks
for coming out, Thieves.
Of course. Thank you.
All right, big congratulations for the victory tonight to the Akron Zips. They looked good. Excited to see what they can bring. And I mean, Thieves, he wants to play Stockton. I can't wait to see what they have down the line because this team, I mean, they said it, Jesse. They still have players to come fill in these slots too. So, I mean, they look good. I can only imagine what happens when those players get here.
Yeah, once they get those full reps in with the full 4-man team that they are completely comfortable with, because they said that Storm was just filling in once again today here. So, I mean, they don't even have their full roster yet, and they're already looking that good. This team could be a very scary team to deal with throughout the rest of this league.
We're going to keep our eyes out for that one. We're going to cut to a little bit of a break while we get ready for a match 2. And after this break, we are going to be seeing Adrian College go up against Trine University. So stay tuned for some more NACE Starleague action. We'll be right back after this short break. Welcome back, everybody, to the NACE Starleague Wednesday night Call of Duty. We already went through one match, and it was quick 3-0 from the University of Akron Zips against the Virginia Commonwealth University. So we're heading into our second match, and it is going to be Trine University against, from what I understand, it is Adrian College. So big matchup between these two teams, both coming up a loss in week one. Jesse, looking to make a huge regain because those matches last week, they were pretty one-sided.
Yeah, it was a little bit tough for both teams last week, and we're obviously heading now from the Eastern Division down towards this Midwest Division now. And like you said, I mean, they really couldn't have had more of a rough week last week for themselves here. We can kind of talk about it really quick. Both teams 0-1. Obviously, now both teams as well at an 0-3 map count. And honestly, neither of the maps, I think maybe the only one that was really close here for the teams was maybe Trine on the hard point. They only lost 250 to, or they took their first hard point. Sorry, it was a 250 to 229. But everything after that, it was a 6-2 loss, a 3-0 loss on the control, and then a 250 to 186. So their hard point looking all right. But then when you look at the side of Adrian College, definitely not the start that they wanted to the NACE Starleague. Starting off with an 0-3 last week, 250 to 50 on the hard point, 6-2 on the search and destroy, and then that 3-0 on the control as well. Neither team yet to win a round of control, so I mean, we'll see something new today.
Yeah, so that is going to be a telling tale when we do get into it. From what I want to see between these two, because these two teams, I haven't seen them play from a commentary standpoint or from a viewing standpoint. So in this, since they're both lower tier teams on the standings, I want to really highlight the mistakes that I see from them and look for the improvements that they're going to be kind of working towards to bring themselves back into these series, to take their first win in the standings against each other. Because this is going to be a big one for them. It's going to be a good opportunity to learn against some of the other teams in the league, and in this one to fix some of the mistakes that they had in the past. So I mean, as you all know from the format that I was introducing at the start of this, it is several weeks of online conference play for the regular season, but towards the end, you're only going to be seeing the 3 top teams from the conference come out into those play-ins to make it to the playoffs. And you don't want to start off slow in this at all, because before you know it, it's going to go by like a flash. Yeah, and you want to make sure you're towards the top.
You're not wrong at all. I mean, with the way that the format works out, 7 teams are going to get dropped from this division towards the end of it. There are 10 right now. Just think about that. That is not fantastic odds. So to start off 0-1, and you got to imagine that map count will end up coming into play as being a not a difference maker, but in terms of a tiebreaker towards the end of it. So you want to be winning as many maps as well as losing as little as possible. So you gotta be looking at this series for Trine. It's going to be a big one as well. And you know what? We don't fully know the full story of their first series. Both the hard points were very close. Obviously, they took the first one, but it could have been a situation where they came up and they played one of the better teams in the league as well, right off of the rip. So maybe they that loss to Minnesota State was just a in terms of, hey, you know what, we lost to one of the top teams, let's hit that regain like we were talking about, and they're going to come out and they're going to fry today.
It's not the worst thing ever to lose to Minnesota State either, because those are one of the teams that have really been on our radars for the kind of top of the standings to make a move this year in collegiate play for Call of Duty as well. So nothing to kind of deter yourself in that standpoint. But let's take a look at our maps, because once again, we're keeping the pattern going. Garrison Hardpoint for the map number 1. However, for the rest of it, we get Miami and then a triple dose of rain, as you love to see towards the later end of it. But that Garrison Miami being the only 2 that are different is where you really can see some individual plays stand out from these 2 teams.
Absolutely. I love our little map breakdown screen here too. You get to see 3 different beautiful shots of raid towards the end as well. But yeah, like you said, starting off with Garrison Hardpoint, we said in our last series, it's really one of those maps which is just the perfect map to start off with for a series as well. It can really set the tail for the entire series. You get to see some machine gun players shine in parts of the map. You get to see AR players shine at certain parts of the map. You get to see which teams are really going to be those teams that are going to push through, set up on those rotations, and which teams have good habits, if you will, as we go in towards the rest of the series. And I mean, Miami Search and Destroy, a lot of people don't like it. It's my favorite Search and Destroy map in this game, just because it's another one of those maps where you really see a lot of fundamentals come through strong. So I think this is going to be a really good series. I'm really liking the start of what we have going into this one.
Well, a little bit of a factor is from our first series, we get to kind of play off of Garrison again. So what was it? It's hill number 3 that we really saw the tides turn towards Akron University. This time around, Trine will be the first ones in that hill from the right side of your mini-map. But on this flank, shutdown, Ken IQ is going to fall, and that is going to provide Trine with the ability to try to pull these spawns away from that left side. Not going to happen. You get 3 up from Adrian College in that backline. Vortex looking to fight out, finds Bentrick, and they have green control. So yes, you're losing time here on that first hill, but Adrian College, they have the ability to bounce back on hill number 2.
I mean, yes, you can bounce back on hill number 2, but you definitely don't want to be giving up almost a full 60 on a very contested hill number 1. So they need to be able to hop on into this, at least get a little bit of contention time here, but it does not look like it's going to be the case. And unfortunately for them, because they start off so low, they have to make that push through and try to stop them from getting enough time there. And what that allows is actually player number 3 in Calamity to be able to make his sneak play on through, and he actually is going to find that first one. The spawns will flip out as well. So now Trine Esports, they have a really good chance of being able to straight hill 1 and 2 together now.
Oh, Sims, a little bit shaky, a little bit awkward, but it comes away with the kill nonetheless. Trine, they regress back into this. You got Sergeant versus Marissa inside the hill. Marissa gonna win a big 1v1 to provide that time back to Trine. They're keeping their lead forward. They only allowed Adrian College 4 points to their 47 at the moment. You still got 34 seconds in that bank to get this. You're looking at Sims to start the push right back in from Green. Has no teammates, so if he falls, there's going to be no trade. There's going to be no backup. It's going to be Trine Esports in full control of the hard point right off the bat. You need to look at the rotation. This hill number 3, it needs to be big for Adrian College.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head there. They absolutely, they need a big rotation here. You can't just let your spawn slip on out. But a beautiful play from Trine Esports. They're going to push all the way through, push all 4 players through the front side of the map, and it's actually going to force all 3 players on the side of Adrian College that just fell to spawn all the way across the map. Vortex will get away with his life, but how long can he stay alive in this back line?
And especially considering that Trine, they know the spawn outs there. You playing cut off to a couple of those players on rotation. And now with Vortex out of the picture, it is going to be the hill contention. Not there. Sims right around the corner. Vortex does find one. You're getting the flip around 3 in contention. Now Adrian College, they battle back on in. Nobody going to spawn up into the right side, but it looks like Adrian, they have no idea. They're not looking towards the front of the hill at all. They need to be ready for this because Trine Esports right on their heels. There's still 28 seconds. They want to take another swing at this. And you can see Bentrick leading the way. Sergeant's going to shut him down, and very curious at pushing in here. Vortex going to shut down Marissa. Not a lot going on there. It's a big heal for Adrian College, but not enough to bring them close to the 77 points that Trine have acquired.
So though, like you said, a big heal just to, you know, bring them back into this game, get their feet underneath themselves a little bit here, find a couple of kills, you know, slowly work your way back in, because they were kind of getting put into the blender through those first 2 hills, but already making their way back in. It's only a 40-point game. They can definitely bring this one back. We've seen crazier comebacks on Garrison throughout the year, and they're making the push out through dark. They could not find all of the kills in succession, but Vortex will be a player who's able to hop back into this hill now. It's just, you got to look at it in a situation of Trine Esports are winning all these rotation battles right now. So if you're Adrian College, I think that's where you got to start putting your main focus right now. At the very least, is winning some rotation battles out to start getting some time on your hands.
Well, Calamity, lane cut off from that platform. He's going to find the rotation in. Vortex is going to expect him to be in the corner. He's not. Calamity's going to be able to find him. Snaps to a second, takes down Sims. He's going to have the artillery strike now underneath him. Can he get the cruise missile? He can. Can he fan? Can IQ? No, he cannot. In fact, it's actually going to be Marissa that finds him with the team kill. 11 seconds of scrap time. Adrian College looking to soak up every single second of that. And you can take a look at your mini-map. Jesse, they are set up just to dominate this right now.
And if they find these kills, they might actually be able to flip them out onto the right side that they want them on. But Vortex will be the player coming in from the back, and they're actually getting north-south spawns here onto this hill, something that you don't see too often. But with Trine Esports winning all those gunfights on the right-hand side, that should surely put the side of Adrian College on those left-hand side spawns where you don't want to be in this hill.
Not at all. Now Marissa, ooh, I was gonna say with that AR able to set up on a power angle, but not gonna be the case. Sergeant's gonna be able to find that with the nade. Calamity peeks on out through dark, is able to find one, backs on up to his podium. We're gonna find another one, but Sergeant in fact finds 2 in a row. Bentrick gets pinched from Sims. They're gonna hop right back into this hill. Another set of scrap time from Adrian College, but scrap time's not gonna be what wins you this game. I need to see something change from Adrian. They need to start getting these rotations locked down because scrap time is keeping them behind right now.
And barely able to stay in this. I mean, they've kept it out of only a 40-point lead pretty much all the way through. So not even the worst case scenario from Adrian College. If you really think about it, this 30-point lead, it really comes down to that first hill where they really lost a lot of their time, hill 1 and hill 2. And if they're able to clean up some of those mistakes, maybe not lose the rotation battle from hills 1 to hills 2 again, they can bring themselves right back into this game with a good hold there. But once again, this Trine Esports team, they've been fantastic on hill 1. They are set up once again here and getting a good amount of time off the rip here.
But Adrian, they actually have a good setup here to find a few seconds into this first hill. Yeah, you said it's a really contest heavy, but they are going to be closing the gap on the lead that Trine have acquired in the first set of rotations. Bentrix, he makes the wraparound, finds Ken IQ, is going to relinquish the pressure onto this first hill, but Sims drops right back up. The connection there for the last 15 seconds. You just needs to hit the deck, wait for it to go, but Calamity's going to find him. You look at the rotation, Adrian, they're going to be the first ones here again, just like the last time, but will they be broken like the last one? Can IQ gets a little bit aggressive versus is going to punish back into this hill. It's Vortex with that AR on top of this radar. He's trying to dip, dodge, and duck, but he cannot. It's going to be Bentrix for the break again, and the spawn flip for Trine Esports.
Ken, it's just too aggressive. You can't be making a play like that. A bigger IQ play needs to be coming in there, because to push out like that, you're just giving up so much pressure on the map and so many different angles that you can play from the inside of that. And here's the scary part is they haven't even had to use any streaks to break that. That was just full gunpowder. You've still got full streaks on the side of Calamity. And that's when things get scary here, because we saw the rotation from Trine Esports on the last set of rotations when they strung hills 2 and 3 together, at least off the rip. This time, if they lose hill 3, they can drop streaks to try to gain that one back for themselves here. And it doesn't look like they're losing any more time here on this second hill either.
Calamity 20-7 on another 4 spree. Their breaks have been stellar to get into these hills. Adrian College on the Eclipse on the precipice of 100 points, but Trine at the same time, they're looking for their 200 points. Calamity's going to burn some streaks to this one. The artillery strike's going to find Sims. There's going to be a spawn out for player number 8. It is going to be the rush now from Ken IQ to get back into the mix with Sergeant. Big kills on the Calamity. Only a 1-for-1 trade. It's going to be an even 3-on-3 for the site taken. You're actually looking at Ken IQ on this rotation. He's getting behind these players. Will he get there in time to back them up? It doesn't seem like it, because you are looking at Trine Esports. They're set up for success, and they are looking to shut them down, Cruz.
I lost my feed.
I lost the feed as well to the game. So, while we wait to see what happens to hear about that. So, seems like we're having some observer problems. We are going to cut to a quick break to figure out these issues. And when we come back, oh, no, we're reconnected right away. So, it looks like we're back into it just like that.
All right,
not skipping a beat. And when we come back, look at that. Adrian College, 192 to 137. Only one streak has been used from Trine Esports, but a 60-point lead heading into this garbage hill.
They held them off, so that works out really well for themselves there. And I was going to touch on this before we very briefly lost the connection to the game there. It was honestly not my favorite streak usage from Calamity. He kind of dropped that streak in a moment where there was just nobody really there from the rest of Trine Esports to follow the streak up for himself. But they do end up finding a couple more kills with that just gun skill in itself, and they're able to at least hop into this hill number 4 now, at least bring this one back. And now, if you're trying Esports here, yes, you've got this big lead, but you got to keep it up. You don't allow this Adrian College team back in the game.
2:17. You still have 20 seconds of scrap time, and look, they're just chasing the tails of Adrian College players. Yeah, and you got to be looking at that. You still have the cruise missile, I'm pretty sure, for Calamity. The setup for hill number 5, 100 points for Adrian College to make this comeback over Trine Esports. They only need 33 on their side. So this is as close as you can ask for Trine Esports to put this one away. However, a big gap for Adrian College now. They're going to be spawning out into the back. This is where you saw them fall last time on this hill number 5, and things are getting a little bit dangerous now. Sergeant's able to find one. He's been so good all game, but it's just not enough for the break. You see Sweeter, Chips, and the cruise missile to shut off the rotation back into this. 10 seconds left, Cruz, for them to close it out. Calamity's going to back up Bentrick on this site, and with 6 seconds left, it just seems like Trine Esports is on the cusp of taking this map number 1 on Garrison. They're going to find the last little bit of it, but holding on to Strauss now. Adrian College, they have a one last chance now. Sweeter Chips just has to hop onto this, and contention's still there. Bentrick's going to clear it out, and there you have it. Trine Esports nail in the coffin. Map number 1 is going to be under their belt. 250 to 156.
And honestly, a pretty in control victory almost all the way through there. If you're on the likes of Trine Esports, I think the only real mistake that we see them make is that streak usage from hill 2 to hill 3 on that second set of rotations. Besides that, a very clean game from themselves there. Yes, you're going to lose some time to teams pushing through and rotating early. I mean, that's exactly where they end up losing a lot of their time there, is when Adrian College was able to find a decent amount of time on those early rotations. And what did we say through the first set of rotations? We said that's exactly what Adrian College needed to do if they wanted to see some success, and it's exactly what happens. They find a lot more success on that second set of rotations through just being able to push through, be set up on those head glitches. It's a lot easier to be set up on them than it is to push into them, and that's when we saw them really start to come alive there in that game towards the back half. It just unfortunately wasn't enough. They kind of fell down a little bit too much too early on in this game.
And I into it. I mean, you talk about Trine and the way that they were handling that. It was Bentrick and Calamity really leading the way on their own fronts, being able to break these hills so easily. The backup from Marissa and Sweeter Chips, when you did have that setup, it was stellar. I mean, you look at the later ends, Sweeter Chips was able to be that cutoff player, find two players that were trying to rotate back in so Bentrick can win that one-on-one to put this away. The Sporting players were there. Trine University, they're firing on all cylinders in this week number 2, and the factor still remains, as I will highlight this in week 2. Every single time I'm in a league and we're only the second week in, this is where we start seeing teams really separate themselves from each other in the standings. In the second week, you are going to be seeing teams fall deeper into the depths of the standings, and some rise to the middle ranks, some stay at the top a little bit of that. There's a storyline on every front here between Trine University and Adrian College. Yes, they're both 0-1 in the Midwest. There's a lot of tough teams to go up against, but can Trine University or Adrian College really make that regain to put themselves and pin themselves right in the middle of the pack after week number 2? It's going to be big. It's a big factor into the rest of the season. And so far, Trine University, it looks like they've patched up a lot of their mistakes and they're looking good on at least hardpoint. But I mean, we're going to Miami for map 2. You like Miami, and this is a chance now. Adrian College, you don't really have to be the first ones there anymore, because the way that search and destroy works, you're either on defense or attack. So it's like there's no really rotating to a hill this time.
Well, I think you make a good point in saying that Trine University look like they've kind of ironed out a lot of their mistakes from week number 1. But the thing is, it wasn't really hardpoint where they looked like they were making a lot of their mistakes. That's actually where they found their only map win as well, was in a hardpoint for themselves.
Oh, yeah.
So when we're looking at the back half of this series now, going through this search and destroy, through this control, you got to think that this is Adrian College's best chance to really take a map off this Trine University team as well, because they struggled just as hard as they did throughout the first week of competition. Both teams went 2-6 in the search and destroy. Both teams went 0-3 in control. So if you're Adrian College, this is where you really need to bring yourselves back into this game. And I would almost say this is a must-win map for them here in the search and destroy.
You have to imagine that that's going to be the case. I mean, Trine University, yes, they only went 4 maps and it was a loss, but they do have that experience when it does kind of break through that 3 map play style. So you go to that hard point, you lose, but you have the experience going the distance in this early start of the season. However, Adrian College, I mean, if you want to force it to the map 4, you show that you can go the distance, you show what you have to offer in this series, it's going to be tough. But I think the fact that you're able to slow things down on the search and destroy, I want to see a convincing win here, and I want to see them really kind of play towards their own play styles, because when things slowed down, when they were the first team to that hill in the hard point, they were finding that success, like you were saying, and that's because they didn't have to rush things. They were able to kind of slow burn and roll into it, take things one step at a time. They didn't have to be pressured into making sure that they were jumping the gun or like being a little bit too fast into it. You could just play your own game here in search and destroy, and that's where I think that Adrian College, they are going to look a lot better.
Absolutely. I mean, the gun skill's there. It's just going to come down to the strategy at the end of the day. And that's the big thing with search and destroy, especially, is it's a very strategic heavy game, especially in Miami search and destroy. That's why I like Miami search and destroy so much. It's one of those maps where you really need to be fully unified as a team on what you're going to do. Are we going to send one island player over towards the ace site, leave him by himself while the rest of us hit in towards garage and defend that garage? Or are the rest of us going to just forward hit something straight down the middle of the map, make a big play? You don't see that very often, so it could be something that catches 1 or 2 of these teams off guard here. You just need to make sure that you're not losing the man advantage on this map, because the man advantage, I really do think, and the first bloods really does end up becoming everything on Miami search and destroy.
We were talking in Moscow about how the map evolved over the season of Cold War. Well, the same thing happens for Miami. I mean, a lot of people like this. I didn't like this map, but it did grow on me. And I know the same thing was for you. I mean, it's not like the most favorite, but it does grow on you in that fact that that A site became a lot more prominent the more we saw Cold War. And that's because the assault rifle players are going to have more of a shot at that site rather than being in this close quarter garage over at B. But however, into this first round, you look at Adrian College on this attack. They are going to be hovering around the B side. You have Marissa stacked inside that alley with the AR, and Bentrick, the deadly Bentrick, tucked away in the corner on the staircase.
Big thing is will anybody expect for Bentrick to be down here? That nade doesn't. Did that connect on him? I could not tell. So I don't know if they get the information on whether Bentrick is there or not. He did just sit in the corner and kind of just waited for it. So Not sure if they got that information for themselves here, but Sweeter Chip is going to be that player now from the side of Trine Esports. He realizes, hey guys, there is nothing over at A. Everybody has to be over towards B or in the middle of the map. We need to start to make our rotation over, and he's going to be that first player to do so.
Adrian College, they've taken a lot of time to make this happen, but slow and steady sometimes wins the race. Bentrick from the corner, he strikes, he finds 3, 1v1 now. Ken IQ and Sweeter Chip, you don't have the bomb in your hand, but you should know that that player is offside. 17 seconds. Sweeter Chip can play spoiler from above. Ken IQ, you gotta go for the plant, or you have to go for the kill. That stun's gonna come out, give him away. He hops into this corner, slides on out onto the staircase where Sweeter Chip is, and shots are solid for round 1 win. Big play from Trine Esports. Looking at Adrian College in that sense, Jesse, I mean, it was just a little bit too slow to get things going, and they took so long that the information just, they knew it was a B hit.
And it almost just worked out so well for them, though, too. That's the scary part. Adrian really does have a good chance of being able to win that round, but Bentrix just makes the huge individual play and gets basically a 1v3 in the middle of the round there to bring his team back into it. Yes, he ends up falling, but just to find 3 in that spot alone is just undeniably huge for the likes of Trine Esports. And I mean, yes, you're not wrong at all, Adrian. They do take a little bit too long with that bomb there to push through. They never even end up getting it down, so that becomes a factor towards the end of the round as well. We'll see what they decide to do on their next offense, but I'm right with you. It's got to be a little bit quicker than that one was.
Well, I think one thing can be certain, in fact, that I don't think a nade hit Bentrix in that corner. Now, Ken IQ, with that stun, should know that the player's inside piano. Is he gonna over-aggress into that? It doesn't seem like it's so far. You do have the pinch set up from Trine, looking to take control of Garage before Piano. This is interesting, but Sim sitting on that corner, puts shots down. Sweeter dropped to 30. The nade's gonna miss, so not gonna be able to find that first blood. Here comes Bentrick now through Piano from behind. Ken IQ is gonna take him down. Vortex in succession takes down Calamity. So excellent job from Adrian College to lock down the Piano room. Vortex to back them up. And this is a solid setup right now from Adrian College. They should be able to find this now that Sergeants find that first one. They know exactly where Marissa is. 1v2. They just have to make sure that they can either play the trade or play the time right now. But Ken IQ gets some shots down. 22 seconds left. Marissa nowhere close to this bomb. Has to take the gunfight to get there first. He hops up top. Adrian College, they find a round to tie us up. It's a big bounce back as well.
It could have gotten a little scary towards the end there, though, because if he wins that one-on-one, there was nobody near for a trade, and it would have been 2 completely different individual one-on-ones to end that round out. Actually, make that 3, because Marissa won 1 right before that 1v2 as well. So could have ended up being another situation where Trine ends up clutching out the round from just taking gunfights that Adrian College is just taking one-on-one gunfights once they get that man advantage. Is not what you want to be able to do. You need to make sure you trade those gunfights out. Luckily, though, they do end up winning that first one-on-one and able to close it out. This time through Adrian College, very different offensive hit from what we saw the first time. They, instead of going towards the B side, it's going to be a full hit towards A. You do have 2 players set up. And I think the main player, the most important player, not the player with the bomb in this round, but it's going to be player number 3 sitting in towards that driveway going up into the hotel.
Calamity. The ARs have such a rain onto this A site. 3v4. Look at Vortex. I can't believe Vortex hasn't seen them all. Finally, he does with the shots way off target. As he's able to sneak away and play the life advantage even stronger. You take a look back here, and Sergeant's looking to play spoiler here, but can't get a good angle onto Bentrix. He's going to have to hop down and hop into the arena of the submachine gun player, and that's where Bentrix going to thrive there now. 4v2. Bomb gets planted, but not a lot to work off this. If you're Sims, you really need to play off the back of Vortex here, because that's going to be your saving grace. Instead, he's going to force the aggression right into Sweeter Chip, and to close it off, it's going to be a flawless round for Trine Esports.
And just as you say, he needs to wait for his teammate, he just decides to run out by himself. And you got to think it's one of those situations where he's thinking, and he's getting a little antsy, thinking he needs to make a big individual play there to help bring his team back into the round. Unfortunately, it just wasn't the right call at the end of that round there. But honestly, a beautiful retake of the site from Trine Esports. A big one-on-one was won right off the rip of that round, down the long beach with the Krig. Able to find that first kill, and it just really staggers that whole push from Adrian College. They just can't do anything really with the bomb once they get to that point. And the player all day, he was yes, a very important player in that round on the driveway, but once they don't get that bomb down immediately, he's in such a bad positioning at that point to be able to really help his team out with anything, that they don't get any success out of that round. Now Trine Esports, it looks like they're going to be trying to do a very similar thing to what we saw in round number 1, where they put a lot of pressure on this piano room, but Ken's actually going to win that first one-on-one, and Sims is nowhere to be seen for this trade. He's just going to continue to lay down outside.
A lot faster this time from Bentrick, and it pays off in dividends. You get this bomb down uncontested at the moment because, yeah, Sims, I mean, he's 0-3. He didn't move a muscle to get that trade. Just playing it very slow. You need to see that flank pay off if Sims is going to play it this slow, because bomb's going to go down. Time's going to be against Adrian College, and it's going to be tough. 4v3 retake on the B side. It's not an easy thing to happen. You're really looking at Sims to be the difference maker here. Did he spot that player? Calamity. He didn't see him either, but instead, it's going to be Sweeter Chips to watch his back, clear up the mistakes that were missed. And now the rest of the players to flood on in from Casino, from the alley. Not a lot to work with here, especially when the time is against you. And you really need to see it's just some heroics if they want to make it happen. But it just doesn't seem like there's a lot of time to make this happen, Jesse.
And with the way the bomb is planted, too, it's one of those spots where you can just sit back if you really wanted to from the side of Trine Esports and just sit on the edge of the docks and watch that bomb for the entire day in that spot and win the round out for yourselves there, because it was in a great planted spot. And if you're Trine Esports there, you win that big one-on-one right off the rip. But I mean, I'm watching that and I'm looking at the side of Adrian, and that first one-on-one in the top of piano, Sims needs to be challenging that and trying to at least even out the man advantage. Yes, you don't have a lot of information, but Ken was all by himself. I think if you're Ken, you need to either be saying, hey, I need somebody to be coming and making that big rush with me so that we have more than one man to try to take that one-on-one, so at least we get a trade. Or Sims, who's in the middle of the map, needs to jump up and try to challenge that out just to help his team. Otherwise, they just get put in a situation where they are now in the man disadvantage, and Trine can just continuously reinforce onto that hill, and it just makes it so tough. But I mean, a great call from Adrian College in this round.
Oh, Ken, I thought he was going to have that, but Marissa with the Craig, up close and personal, finds that first blood cruise. Now you look at the rest of it, you're getting that A plant down. You have the rotations from Trine Esports over towards B, but this plant is going to be safe and sound for post-plant.
They do have the numbers, though, so definitely have a chance. All Day's in a great spot here to watch every little bit of a cross. He really needs to watch his back, though, because player 8's going to be on him as well.
Finds one. Calamity now expects it. What a play from All Day Sergeant. And you look at this time. Sims has found his way into visitor center. You can see the information flooding to that SMG. Oh, wow, Sweeter Chip. Oh my goodness. But now Sims can't play spoiler. Not expecting it. 1v2, 14 seconds left. It's Vortex on the boat. You can really just sit pretty and wait for that to come on through. They make it in time. Oh, I think Trine, they got that one. Oh no, Adrian College.
Oh my, 0.2 seconds left.
Wow.
That's a tough blow there for Adrian College. That's a round where you just need to be able to win it, especially when All Day takes a man disadvantage, turns it into a man advantage. But Sweeter Chip, the bigger man in this situation. And again, it's Sims. You got to think Sims in that situation. You got to get one at the very least.
You have to find one.
At the very least, because the player on the boat at that situation, he can just sit back. He doesn't even have to challenge. It would be a one-on-one. The player has to make a push for the bomb. As long as Sims finds one, it's not going to be the case, though. And at 0-5, you got to be looking at Sims once again. He needs to pick it up here for his team.
That could have been that should have been Adrian College's win. But again, a choke today on this Wednesday. It seems to be the pattern, the theme in Search and Destroy. But Calamity's going to take a few shots. That's the player. Vortex over towards A. The bomb down range on that beach. Yet to decide if it really wants to push into the A side or not. I mean, Trine Esports, they have a lot to work with right now. They have 3-round lead. They have the rotation available. You look at Adrian College and they take the bait.
They absolutely took the bait. Trine Esports, like a fisherman, put that worm on the hook and just hung it over the A side, and everybody on Adrian ran over to it. They threw in a couple of stuns and nades. But the rotation will come back in at the very least. But I mean, Trine Esports, they do have enough people here where they can just try to overpower this site.
Oh, Ken! Oh no! Chalk that into your book of things you hate to see. Can Sims shut this down? No, he's not going to go in for the trade either. This is the one time that I actually like the patient play. He's going to wait for his team to come through, but there's the strike from Trine Esports. Now it's a 4v1, looking for another flawless round. It looks like even though the rotations came through after the bait totally bamboozled Adrian College, it doesn't matter. Ken gets a poor timing into piano. You get the flood on into the site. The ARs are set up on their power positions, and it's just smooth sailing into 5-1 lead.
That is the worst timing. That is COD timing at its finest, where Ken ends up falling there. And again, you know what? I actually disagree with you. I think this is a situation here where Sims needs to get aggressive and push onto the site and just try to find that kill onto Bentrix to give enough time for the rest of his teammates to try to make a play to get back over, because he was the only player in position to try to shut down that bomb plant from coming through. And kind of like I hinted at earlier on in that round, where we're trying to esports, they just had enough people on that site where they could just continuously overpower whoever was there. Nobody was watching over the planter. He could have gotten through. Obviously, it's hindsight. You can't tell. But it's just one of those situations where it's like you're 0-5. You just need to kind of try to make a play.
This is the confidence that I like to see from Bentrix. Sergeant's going to pop up. Oh, that is the multiplier on that headshot that you just feel deep down in your bones. Now he's going to back up right into his corner that he held to a T. Yeah, his safe spot. His safe spot on the B site. But is it really safe when Bentrix is down there?
Well, I mean, it's his safe place, right? That's where he seems to have felt most comfortable at in this game, at least on defense. He's played it quite a few times, and he's going to hear that stun come through, so he knows there's somebody up top. I would not be surprised at all if we see him get aggressive here.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you're Ken IQ, this is your nightmare. It's not your safe spot. This is dancing with the devil. In fact, and if you make a deal with the devil, you know that it's not going to go your way in the end. Look at Calamity. Calamity actually gets so much information. That's going to be bombed down. The trade is maybe going to be there for Vortex. Oh, no, don't let that happen, Calamity. He does it again. Off screen, Ken, he is able to find Bentrick up top, but now in a 1v2, 10 seconds left. You don't have the bomb. You don't have the time, and you don't have a teammate. This looks like Trine Esports are going up 2-0 into the series. The shots, they're commendable, but they're not able to find you. The round 6-1 victory. Trine Esports, confident, convincing, and very, very a very big statement from them here in this map number 2.
Oh, that's just a gunfight Vortex has to win. I feel like there's just so many little mistakes right now. And so many like little gunfights that Adrian College, if they win, they're right in these games. They're right in these games. So many of those rounds came down to just small situations where if you make the right rotation at the right time, they absolutely have a chance to be able to come back into it. We're going to get to see it in some of these highlights here, but this was what, round number 1, Bentrix with the 3-piece. I mean, this was a round they probably should have won right off the rip, and instead they get 3-piece and lose the round. This round here, they're in another situation where they're in a round where they should have won. And Sweeter Chip just turns it on. He's able to find multiple kills to close it out. It's just tough situations where it's multiple rounds that they could have easily won. Even this last round, it's a round where they could have won if Vortex finds this kill. Calamity finds a big 2-piece. They close the round out for themselves. And I mean, if you're trying esports, you're feeling fantastic. You're on the top of the world right now. You've won so many rounds in a row. You look fantastic. But I mean, you got to think, man. I've seen a lot of positives in Adrian College's game here today. That if they're able to polish up some of these mistakes as this season goes along, they have a very good chance of being able to make a little bit of a run. The scary part is you're already 2 games in. You only got 7 left after this. At what point do these games start to become, hey, we need to absolutely be winning these because only the top 3 make it in towards the qualifier.
I don't know what to say after that. I mean, like, there were so many ways. I mean, it's even that round where Sweeter Chip finds All Day Sergeant up in that balcony and then they overwhelm Sims in the end there. We were watching Sims' perspective in that situation, and you can see the indecisiveness in his head. He doesn't know what to do, whether they're coming behind him or forward, but no matter what, I just would have liked to see him just stick to the strategy all the way through, because even if you turn around, they might not have seen you. You have the flank on them. You could shut it down, but instead he turns away. They push right into him on that, and they find the opening. There were so many situations where I would have liked to see Sims as a player, as a submachine gun player, just follow through with their idea of a team and just make something happen because he was just looking for the opportunity to fall into his lap instead of trying to make an opportunity in that sense. So not a very proactive player that I've seen from Adrian College. And that's something that they can fix. Get a little bit of confidence underneath them and start being a little bit more proactive in their gunfights, in their situations, and in their strategies, especially on search and destroy, because I didn't see enough proactivity from Adrian College to even find them a second round, because they only got stuck at that first round. But there were so many situations that you highlighted, they could have won. And into this control, neither of these teams have won a control. So really, you have to look at Trine University, that they are just sitting on their high horse, whereas Adrian College, they are down bad.
I think I just kind of want to touch back on one of your previous points on Sims. And I think a spot where I think I could see Sims finding a lot of success, actually, he's running that submachine gun role in the second sub with Ken right now. I think if maybe you throw him as an entry frag role and you have Ken running in behind him, I think is a spot where you could see Sims having a lot of success. But Ken is kind of being that player right now who's that lead fragger for their team. He's being that person who's the first person in, and he's winning some gunfights, but he's also losing some. If you let him maybe have Sims bait for him or run in first, I think that's a spot where you could see Adrian College start to maybe find a little bit more success in some of these rounds. Because think about it, that one round where it was that top piano fight where Ken ends up losing that fight, if he has Sims running in before him, Sims gets that player at least weak to be the point where they can win that gunfight out. And you don't need two players watching towards middle of the map like they had in that round. Sims was kind of doing nothing in that round, just laying down middle of the map. Just have him run with your other submachine gun player at the very least, and you might be able to start seeing a little bit more success here if you're Adrian College.
Well, we finally get to see a raid today. Is raid my favorite map? It's the perfect map, I'd say. It is amazing. It's excellent for control, search, and hardpoint. It is literally... It's the trifecta
You're
of
playing too
Cold War
much
right
VO2.
now.
That's what it is.
Yeah, but anyways, though, we finally get a raid. The control is here. Trine Esports, are they going to 3-0, or is this where we're going to see Adrian College put their foot down and bring them to a map 4?
I mean, I feel like this is going to be a very decisive part of the round right now. If we can see Adrian College win an offense here, it could be absolutely huge for their team. And I mean, they've already got 2.5, almost 3 ticks here onto the B side. The retake will come through. Sweeter, Chip, and Co. able to at least shut it down for the time being. But this is one of those classic situations on raid control where you start to see that zone tag come on through. And already a tick of progress over towards A as well.
Ooh, big one-on-one from Sims. He's going to win it. The backup from Marissa is going to take him down, but you got Sargent to pick up the base. But again, not accounting for the snake in the grass. It's Marissa to find another one. Shut down the pressure to A and off the spawn. Adrian College, they make the heads-up play. They rotate over to B, but now back off their respawns again. They're going to head over to A, overwhelm Marissa. Now getting a little bit of progression here. They're working on their second, looking to put this one away. Bentrix, he's going to get that rotation back from the B side, throw some shots down on Sims, not expecting Ken to be down low, and this is looking so far so good for Adrian College. The collapse, though, perfect from trying to keep them away from capping both, but you got to look at this, 55 seconds, you only need to take at A and B.
I mean, best case scenario right now for Trine would be to just win a bunch of these gunfights off spawn here and try to pin the players of Adrian College back in their spawn, because, I mean, both sites are so close to being able to be capped right now. I think the one thing that you can look at as a positive here for Trine at the moment is the fact that they do have that big 8 life lead for themselves here, where they can really start to try to run away with this game. The problem is, though, if Adrian College hop onto one of these zones, they don't need to use all 12 of these lives just to get one more tick onto one zone as well. So definitely have a very good chance for Texas gunfight. You just need to win for yourself to give your team a chance to hop on in, because Calamity is over at A. It's all falling apart for the likes of Adrian College right now.
Even if it wasn't those frontline battles, I mean, Calamity, he had control of the middle of the map, and he is not letting go. He's inside Art, raining terror down off the spawns, and Bentrix to help them out. The dynamic duo right now for Trine Esports firing on all cylinders. Ken, he makes the overextension into the B side, but he has to win this one-on-one, and he pushes right into the pre-fire angle. That Marissa was holding. Last chance for Adrian College to make something happen. There's just not enough teammates to work this site. It is going to be Ken, last alive. He somehow made it 0.0 seconds, but it didn't matter whatsoever. It was a 1v like 17.
I think it was a 1v20, yeah. Very end of that round. Something kind of crazy like that. Now, I'm going to do something a little bit crazy here, too. I kind of want to critique that round from Trine. Yes, they did just win that round by 20 kills, and that's fantastic.
Okay.
They also gave up 4 ticks of progress, which is definitely not a situation where you want to be in at any point on a raid control, at least in terms of when you're going up against better teams. I think that they're in a spot right there where they're just trying to outslay Adrian College, but the breakoff was not very good on their end. They kind of just sent everybody over towards the A site and allowed 2.5 ticks over towards B. I mean, imagine if Adrian's able to get those first 3 ticks there. They absolutely could have transitioned that over towards A as well. So maybe just a couple little things to clean up there for the likes of Trine Esports, because if you go up against a better team, you're not going to be outslaying them by 20 kills every round.
Oh, no. Not at all. You are getting some progression over towards A. And the cutoff man, Calamity, able to watch these routes and shut them down. This, honestly, in fact, should be the A side gone unless Sims really can spoil the fun for them. But he's inside Art. He's focusing on the wrong player as well. He's taking too long to get in. Able to find one. Calamity hops on down the flank from Marissa. A side should be gone. Add another minute to this clock. 25 lives to 28. And this is something where you have to focus because, yes, Adrian College, they find those 4 ticks for the last round, but if you lose this is going to put you in a really bad situation where you might not even make it to that 5th round.
He was fully waiting for that player when he was on top of Statue there to make the rotation over. And here's the difference from the round from before. Trine Esports, they finish off the A site, and they've only lost 3 lives throughout this entire round. They're just putting on a master class right now of just how to play offense here on control. They do finally end up losing a couple of lives here. And Adrian College, they do have that player up and towards top bedroom. So, I mean, the fundamentals are there. They know the situation that they're in and where they need to be playing right now. It's just a matter of completing it and winning those big gunfights for Adrian College right now that seems to be hindering them.
Ooh, Bendrake's nice snap on the Ken. They know he's in this corner. Sims waiting for that on the pillar, but I love this from Bendrake. He's not pushing too far in. He's waiting. He's playing his life. The only thing is he's not accounting for is Ken off the spawn. He hits the flank. He pushes through pillars, and he's able to take him down from behind. Now, you're trying to take some players out from their spawn, but Trine Esports, the regain's excellent. They cut the player down, and now they have mid-map control. They can start sieging the B site.
And they've already gotten job 1 done. They clear out their top bedroom. Now they just need to try to find a way to get some pressure in towards middle of the map. But, I mean, a fantastic answer from Adrian College again. They're going to actually even this life count up as well. And now they need to be worried about Ken IQ pushing in through the back. He might be able to catch these players coming off spawn.
Yes, he does. That's Calamity off the board. Ken's going to make the cut now through Zigzag. Hit to the middle pool staircase. He's going to find another one, and that forces Bendrake to push into the basketball courts. Has to force some more gunfights off of this spawn. Allow his teammates to escape that they need from their spawn, and it's exactly what Bendrake does. He's still alive in basketball courts. You have to be looking at him now, because as they hop onto this B side, they're going to be flooding it now. 2 takes almost off the board. Ken all day looking to flood back into the site. Player to the left, player to the right. Marissa's going to be the force point of contact. Sweeter has his back watch. He is going to be taken out from his teammate. Vortex able to get back into it, but Bendrake's and Calamity, they're going to put this round away. They're going to take an attacking round as well, put themselves up 2-0, and they are on the precipice of a 3-0 victory in this week 2.
This is like a firing range right here for Marissa. All day long, they'll be able to find those kills and drop those players, and just it makes it so much easier. And actually, she's gonna fall in the kill cam, come back on. I thought they were gonna continue it on there, but I guess not. I thought she was gonna find one more. Not gonna be the case. Crazy stuff, though, in all honesty, from the likes of Trine Esports, able to finish that round off for themselves. And it was one of those situations where they finally got money control. And once they got money control, they just filtered every player on Adrian College through that small little gap in basketball, and it just made their life so much easier. This time through, Trine Esports, they're going to do the exact same thing they did in round number 1, where they sent all 3 players over towards A and leave 1 player just kind of chilling in the middle of the map, and they're able to actually find a lot of kills off the rip here. And, I mean, if you're Adrian College, you just can't allow what happened in the last round, where you got outplayed by 20 to happen again here.
You talk about the search and the hard point. I mean, Marissa hasn't had to do a whole lot, but man, does her Craig pack a punch here in the control. 18-7 with 17 objective kills as well, locking down the A site solely This time around, Adrian College, you wanted to see them really focus on one of these sites early, and this time they're putting a lot of emphasis to A. Bentrix gets the slide cancel right out through those pillars, transitions to a second one, closes out on this A site before the second ticket even comes on through. So not what you need to happen if you're Adrian College. However, if you're Trine Esports, you are just keeping the dominance going as Bentrix, he is on 4 now, looking to take control of Zigzag and Art, doing the duty of his team.
And this is where we really saw Trine Esports start to take over in their last round as well on defense. Once they were able to really pin these players on Adrian College in the back of their spawns, but Adrian College, they will come away with a site 1 this time through. And Sweeter Chip, he's just going to back up, get onto the tree here, and he's going to have a lot of action to deal with all these players rotating from the top side of the map.
Exactly where you want your AR to be, especially to watch this. It's something that Adrian College, they didn't have. Instead, this was Ken IQ's spot. And Vortex, hello! Welcome to the action. A big 2 kills go the way of Adrian College. Now it's time to flood into Brazil. You got Marissa and Sweeter Chips inside this basketball court. You get a spawn out there as well from your teammates. Ken, he has to go big, and it's just not going to be the answer that you need for Adrian College. A full 4 down, it seems like. As Adrian College, they have lost all map control that they have accomplished after collecting that A site. And now minute 8 on the clock. 18 to 11 in the life count. And Bentrix, he's having fun today.
He's definitely not missing right now. 25 and 13, just having a very good game for himself. And we're seeing a very similar story to what we saw on the first offense here for Adrian College, where the numbers are just starting to not work out into their favor. Only 50 seconds left to try to cap this, and they're down 6 lives once again to the likes of Trine Esports, who are in a fantastic setup. Ken IQ, he's absolutely just going to need to make the play and make a big difference-making play here for his team.
Calamity, is he gonna get the trade? Yes, he is. You get a few kills though for Adrian College. This is your chance, and you're gonna hold on to this chance with dear life. Our Bentrix, he's gonna get the turn and burn onto the second. The collapse is there from Trine. They get right back into this hill. No respawns remaining for Adrian College. 4 to 12 in the life count, and they just keep on falling. Line them up and put them down because it looks like Trine Esports are looking to stamp their way to a 3-0 victory here in week number 2 against the likes of Adrian College. It's all said but done as Vortex can't
1v8
do the impossible. I mean, 1v8, why not? Have some fun with it. Look good while you're doing it. But Bentrix, he's just so hard to kill. He's like his own score streak on the map. Trine Esports 3-0 in the control and 3-0 in the day.
Yeah, they're looking really good right now. I mean, if they can find a way to turn this up against some of the better teams in the division, I don't see why this team can't find a way to finish top 3 here and try to find their way into the play-in at the very least. But I mean, it's just not the day you want if you're Adrian College, but a fantastic bounce back here in week 2 for the likes of Trine University.
I mean, there's a few glimpses of hope from Adrian College. Off the first round that they had, they looked great. They had 2 ticks on either site. The second time they were on attack, they did capture the A site. It's just when it came down to it, when you really need to put things away, you're just letting a little bit slip through the cracks, a little bit too much slip through on this control. And I mean, talk about some highlight players. I really want to highlight Marissa in this first round. I mean, she was solo holding A sometimes with a Craig inside the ring. Like, that is unheard of. A lot of the time, that's like selling a play. If you're talking about CDL style, it's straight up just ratty, it's snaky, and you don't expect it. But she showed up, she shot it down, and really keeping Adrian College away from that triple cap at A to close out on another minute. And when you're really getting into it, you saw Bentrix, he was just hopping into his flow state, really just a menace on this map. I mean, look at the ability he has for the movement to just take control of things inside this control, inside the search, inside the hard point. All throughout this series, you saw that players on the side of Trine, they just weren't giving up whatsoever, Jesse. They were just making sure that it was good. It was a win. It was a 3-0, and it was dominant.
Yeah, and you got to look at this series, and you got to think. I think that the big difference maker in these 2 teams in this series, I wouldn't even say fully goes on to the teamwork. I think it's just the pure star power, maybe on the likes of Trine. Just their ability to have 1 or 2 players a map were popping off, which really ended up making the difference towards the end in the hard point, the search and destroy. It really was just that situation where you get a lot of mistakes on the likes of Adrian, but then once you compile that on top of players popping off, and then it even more so was like that when you headed in towards that control in that first round. The 20 kill difference when they had 4 ticks of progress. Yes, you allow a lot of progress, but you found so many kills, you pinned them in the back of the spawn so well that it didn't even make a difference. And so it's so hard to really be able to come up with ways to say that Adrian was wrong and needs to do something better when it's really just comes down to this lane, and they just need to slay a little bit more to bring themselves and give themselves a better chance in these games.
Well, they really, really do. And now when you're looking at the records for both teams, that's going to put Adrian College in their standings 0-2. And Trine, they're going to, I guess they're going to accomplish a victory. They're going to go 1-1 off the day of 3-0 map count as well. I think that should put them at 4-3 now in their map win-loss. That's going to be good to see. It's going to put them a little bit higher than some of those even 3-3 teams if they are going to be tied in that middle of the pack. However, we are going to be joined, Jesse, by Marissa from Trine Esports today on the desk for an interview. Until then, I mean, a little bit of highlights from that, things you like to see from teams, things that maybe you weren't expecting from these teams coming into this.
I mean, when you really look at that, we looked at it and we saw that Trine Esports was kind of struggling with their search and destroy and their control in their last series. So to see them come out and play as dominantly as they did in both those game modes, I think was something that I was a little bit shocked by. And just the fact that they're able to do it, it was honestly very good on their ends.
I do want to bring Marissa onto the desk for the interview because I have a lot of questions right now for Trine Esports. Marissa, welcome. You guys looked great tonight.
Thank you so much.
Now, I have to ask for Trine because I've heard a little bit from you guys, and you've had your struggles so far in leagues for the Call of Duty Collegiate. What's the vibe going into this season for Collegiate Call of Duty?
The vibe going into the season is definitely, we're very uplifting with each other. We did have a couple of times where we would, just get too into our heads. We wanted to go into this series with just clear heads and just calming each other down and working off of each other. I know we were struggling in S&D and control specifically, so we just wanted to take a moment and focus on those 2 game modes, and we definitely picked it up.
That's great.
And do you guys feel like today's changes that you guys made on your search and destroy and your control, like do you guys feel like you guys made like leaps and bounds today versus last week's matches?
I definitely think we did. I know sometimes the comms get a little messy. We focus on cleaning up the comms and just uplifting each other and working off of each other, and that definitely changed the impact of today.
I was talking about in that control. You looked great inside that ring. Were things a little bit hectic and a little bit crazy because Adrian College, they came out with the fire inside that control, but you guys did a great job at shutting them down. So in your own words, like what was the strategy to really shut them down in that first round of control?
It was definitely very hectic. We just wanted to focus on counting kills and definitely working off of each other and getting our trades. Definitely holding each other's angles helped a lot because we know we have each other's back and we trust each other.
That's great. It's great to hear, and it's great to see you guys bounce back into this, moving towards the middle of the pack now after week number 2, going 1-1 on your record point. Is there any team in your standings that you're excited to kind of get a shot against? Any team that you really want to play against?
There's a lot of different teams we want to play against. I know there's some that we haven't really heard of, and there are a couple new names that are new to us. So we're definitely looking forward to playing against everybody. And even if it's not against matches, maybe even scrimming, we're definitely looking forward to playing everybody.
And before we let you go, it's going to be great to see you guys evolve over the season. Is there any shout outs you'd like to make to the stream, to family, friends before you head out?
Definitely a shout out to our coach, Lucas. He helps us with a lot. He is a very humbling coach, and we love working with him.
Oh, that's great to hear. I love a good coach behind the team, especially in the collegiate scene. But thanks for coming out. Congratulations for the 3-0 in this week too. I can't wait to see what Trine Esports has to offer in the rest of the series.
Yes, thank you so much for having me.
That's going to be great. Now, Jesse, after our match number 2, both of them so far 3-0s on the day. We're kind of heading towards the closing statements of this week 2 for the NACE Starleague Call of Duty season. Any takeaways so far?
I mean, it's kind of what we expected when we came into this. I mean, I think we expected our first series to be a little bit closer. That one, we were kind of looking at as we didn't really know what to expect from both of those teams. It was very surprising to see Trine come out and just 3-0 them in the dominance that we saw. So, I mean, I think that's probably my biggest takeaway is that Trine, they really very possibly could have just had a really rough match week 1. And we're starting to see a little bit more of their true colors here in their second series. I mean, looking in towards our next one, though, I think that one's going to be an interesting one to have as well, because I mean, we could possibly be on for another 3-0 there as well. So I mean, we'll see what happens, but it could end up being a quick day of Call of Duty.
Trying to make some predictions a little bit early. I mean, it is going to be interesting. You got the University of Albany versus New Haven University coming up after the break. That's going to be our third match of the day. I haven't seen Albany play just yet. I know New Haven from the CCL season. We'll talk more about that when we get back. Before that, a small little break, and when we come back, the continuation of NACE Starleague Week 2 for Call of Duty. And welcome back to the NACE Starleague for this week 2 Call of Duty action. It's been quite the day between both of our match 1s and match 2. Quick 3-0s on either style, but I mean, they had their ups and downs for either side. I don't want to count the teams that they were playing out too much because, I mean, they did look good on the opposite ends as well. It's myself, Seymour, and Jesse, or Cruz, on the desk to bring you through this last match, number 3, the University of Albany going up against New Haven University. So that's going to be our match 3, the last best of 5 for the day. Jesse, this is going to be a crazy one. It's either going to be as close as you can ask for, or it has, when you're looking at the stats, the telling tale of a possible another 3-0. So looking at these two teams right here, the University of Albany 1-0, the University of New Haven 0-1.
Do we have this backwards? I thought it was the other way around. I thought it was New Haven that was 1-0, but maybe I might be wrong in that. But I believe that it was Albany that went 0-1 week 1 with a 0-3 map record. And I mean, I know I was kind of getting on it where I said earlier on in the break where I thought that before the break that I thought that we could be heading towards possibly another 3-0 here. But you know what? It very well could end up being a bigger match. Week 1, you know what? They might not have had their full team if you're the University of Albany, but definitely not how they wanted to start off here in the NACE Star League with a 250-33 loss in their hard point, 6-2 on the search and destroy, and then they got 3-0'd in the control. So I mean, honestly, anything this week could be better than what happened last week for themselves. And then I mean, if you're the University of New Haven Chargers, you're just coming out and it's business as usual. Week 1, they 250-197 in their first hard point, 6-4 on the search and destroy, and a 3-0 in their control, looking to hopefully run that momentum here into week 2 for themselves as well.
I'm very familiar with the University of New Haven as they are coming out of the last season of the CCL as well. We can keep our eyes out of them. I know they're a strong team, but I mean, as strong as you could be, look at what we're headed to for these maps. I mean, we got a triple dose of Ray to start us off. It's a complete flip on the tail from the last one, except our last 2 maps are going to be Moscow and Express for the hard point and search and destroy. If we go the distance, and man, if I'm telling you, I want to see a map 4. I want to see a map 5, obviously, but I just want to see at least a map 4 because we've got 3-0s all day long. I'd love to see that Moscow come out.
I mean, always as casters, me and you are sitting here like, yes, please give us a map 5. And it always happens to us too, Colin. Every single time we do a tournament together, it's always 2 best of 5s. It's always going to game 5. Round 11 a lot of times. So, you know, maybe we might be able to conjure something up here, manifest a game 5 for ourselves between Albany and New Haven here. But I mean, I love the triple dose of rage off the rip.
It's very standard, very typical. I said it. I mean, this is just like standoff from earlier. This has been a map in Call of Duty for now 7, almost 8 years in this, as we're heading into a new cycle of Call of Duty with Vanguard coming out very soon. But Raid, it returned almost better than ever, it felt, into Cold War. I mean, it was great, very nostalgic from Black Ops 2, but this is very standard set of maps, the 3 raids. It's going to be easy to get comfortable against the opposing team here. For your University of Albany, definitely fighting from the lower end of the standings against a very strong team in New Haven, behind their captain Relu, coming back from last season as well. New Haven, they have everything to lose here, but Albany, I mean, with Raid being your first 3 maps, you can really get into your comfort zone.
Absolutely. Like you said, I mean, this map has been around for absolutely ever. So if there's a map that you want to be starting off on, it's this one, like you said, in your comfort zone. I think the only scary thing about maybe it being a comfort zone for you is it could very well be a comfort pick for the likes of New Haven as well, a map that they definitely practice very often. And I mean, you can already see it right off the rip. 8-1 in the kill feed now for the likes of New Haven, as they have just been on a roll off the rip here. 3 players on streaks.
You have rotations locked down. You have the site locked down. You have the scrap time in your hand. And Zin, oh, he's on close to a 6 spree. Looking to play for these early streaks. You're getting the wrap from Albany. Through the middle of the map, it's going to be BPR and Relu to shut down the rotation. And New Haven, they are in the driver's seat. All in right here. The flood from the front is going to be Relu. The slide there has the backup from BPR. The trades back and forth from either squad leaves the site open for the taking. Stripes may be able to play spoiler here. Shuts down the streaks from Zin. Got a 1v1 on site. Stripes, a big play from behind to get Albany onto this hill.
They absolutely have a chance now. If you're the likes of University of Albany, to really be able to flip these out, get those back spawns for your team to really try to lock it down. It's just not going to be the case yet, though. Both teams really just trying for position at the front. And honestly, very, very weird split spawns coming in here. And you can see the two players on University of New Haven are just going to completely give up this hill. They both make the wrap over towards the right-hand side of the map. That's players 5 and 6. And they're just going to put full pressure towards trying to win this rotation battle.
Ooh, player number 3, Bismack. He's here. BPR, uncomfortable. The shot punch is going to be out. He hops into the garage, but not expecting Relu to be deep in behind this van. He locks down the spawns, but however, you look at Albany, and they're going to be blessed with this one. Spawning up inside driveway, it's going to be 3v2 for the site. They have to be careful, though, because University of New Haven, they are running in from behind. To clear you out, it's going to be BPR and Carnage to finish them off from behind. Bismack, he does get onto the site, but the rotation, the reinforcements are here, and the trades are going to be favoring New Haven. Digital Havoc's the closest one. And you look at this setup now from the University of New Haven. They are in every form to run away with the rest of this hill. Bismack, he's going to be one last chance. They get the nade onto Zin. Can they find Carnage in the back line? That crate's going to be so dangerous, and the collapse from the rest of the team to clean up the rest. New Haven, they handle it successfully.
The thing there is the University of Albany never fully lost those bottom right-hand side spawns, so they were able to just continuously reinforce and contest that hill. So, I mean, even though New Haven University gets a lot of time off of that, they definitely could have gotten a lot more if they forced that spawn out, but they never got the spawn out exactly how they want it. But now comes the hard part. They need to make that long trek across the map from Hill 3 into Hill 4, and it's a perfect start to Hill 4 from the likes of the University of Albany. They're able to shut down all 4 players on rotation, and I mean, now they can just put themselves in a spot where they can just watch consistent angles and long lines of sights and try to shut down the New Haven University before they can get anywhere near this hill.
Ooh, Stripe bites off a little bit more than he can chew in the kitchen. Now New Haven, they are going to be flooding out of this kitchen. You kind of dismiss the lead to 40. You win the fights from the front line as player number 7 to get onto this hill. That's in. You have the flank in through that is the staircase. Digital Havoc getting all the information that he can, but the kill's just not gonna be there. New Haven, a very comfortable break into the site. You get a lot of time if you're Albany. You're able to cut this lead in half marginally, but it's just not enough to bring you back in this. You have to look at that setup. They let New Haven take a little bit too much.
And once they find those first couple kills, the rest of them come so easy for them to find that break on in. But here we go once again. University at Albany. They will move back towards the middle of the map, set up for the new hill. It's one thing that, at the very least, they're doing very well is playing fundamentally. They're pushing in towards these new hills. They're getting the setup that they want. It's just coming down to the factor of they're not really slaying out right now. They're kind of getting outslayed by the likes of New Haven University, and it's really what's ending up hurting them here in this game. Because once again, another 4-man wipe comes back down in from the likes of New Haven University, and they can just continuously pile onto this hill. You do have Flight trying to make a push in from behind, but it's not enough. It's a very scattered push, and it's going to be New Haven University holding on again.
And every single time you find this, you see one player just leading the charge and locking it down for New Haven. Every single time a player from Albany throws themselves at this, it's just somebody comes out victorious for the University of New Haven. Zen did go on another streak, but not able to find that artillery barrage at the end of it. You're looking at the rotation now, back to the first set of rotations into that ring hard point. It's gonna be number 8 Carnage, the first player there. Find Stripes inside that top art bedroom. Flight's gonna be close to maybe spoil the fun a little bit. He's gonna hop on there. Knows Carnage is up top, wins the first one of one, hits the deck. He's gonna be playing his life. BPR just above him. Can he find the second one? Not gonna expect him onto this hill. A little bit of a do-si-do behind the rock. And it's gonna be all 3 players dropping for the University of Albany. One left. It's Digital Havoc. Needs soon to fall.
And this is where we really saw New Haven University get a good amount of time on the first set of rotations. I think they got, what, 50 seconds on this first hill. If they can try to find a way to replicate that once again here with these back 30, they're going to mass that 200-point mark and be only 50 away from putting this game away. And it's looking fairly good right now. We will see one final hit here coming from the University of Albany. And I mean, it's already been shut down. It's just Flight, the only player left. He will at least shut that down. So, I mean, if they hop onto this, realistically, these back 15 are fairly free here for the University at Albany. But it looks like they're more focused on trying to make this rotation over towards the new.
In the front line.
Oh, and they win the
There's a
battle.
pinch. Relu, he's still alive onto this hill. They know the players are flooding into the back. Relu, he gets overwhelmed. Now you got Zin. looking to keep these spawns a little bit chaotic. You are going to be spawning into the right side for either side. It is going to be north and south spawns. The race is into this. BPR wins the fight to get the time, and they're going to be aware of the floods coming in through pool. BPR is here. The nade gonna land on a few. Can he find the kills though? There's one down. Digital Havoc just hits the deck. He's not gonna be taking this fight, and he loses his teammates so fast. He doesn't even know what to do in the situation. Gonna try to make a heroic play through money. He's able to find one as BPR, but the rest of his team's off spawn. They're gonna be dropping as they line up. Zin's back on a 5 spree with the Diamante trying to find that last play. That's actually Relu, but New Haven comfortable as ever. They lock down this kitchen. They're going to put themselves in striking distance of this map 1 victory.
The last second flank play will come in from the side of Bismack here, but it's just not going to be enough. They will shut that down, and when that flank comes in too, it just opens up the middle of the map for New Haven University to be able to push all the way across. And now it's a 4-on-1 towards the other side, and it's Stripes all by himself. He gets shut down, and a beautiful rotation once again from New Haven University. They can put it away here.
This is exactly where you want to put it away. Bismack, 10 seconds left. He hops in for the Kadeshin. Just gonna be trying to maintain this time as much as he can, but Zin, he finds the angle. 3 go down, 1 left. It's Havoc. He's gonna fall. 6 seconds to put this away. The Shrieks to kill him off this spawn. Nothing you can do if you're the University of Albany. 250 to 84. A statement has been made on Raid Hardpoint, and this is exactly what you would expect from a team with at the caliber that New Haven has.
Yeah, a big 100-point club coming in there. And I mean, it really does come down to the slaying. I mean, we saw it right off the rip. What was it? It was like 14-2 off the rip in terms of slaying just towards the side of New Haven. I will say, if you're Albany, at the very least, you didn't give up streaks throughout that game. So, I mean, a positive to take away from that. You get 100-point club without giving up streaks. There are multiple times in that game as well where they do get those early rotations set up. They do have those fundamentals down pat. It's just really going to come down to teamwork and winning a lot more of your gunfights if they want to be able to find success in hardpoint, especially against teams to the likes of New Haven's University, who are just, like you said, very, very dominant teams. Some very good teams from last year in the CCL especially. So we'll see what they can do throughout the rest of the series here. But I mean, I wouldn't count this University of Albany team out completely yet.
Oh, they had their little sparks of excitement into this map. But a lot of the time, just as soon as they got something going, it was the consistent setups from New Haven that were shutting them down every single time you got the ball rolling. It came to a swift and abrupt stop if you're Albany. Now, into the search and destroy. It's the exact same that I was saying for Adrian College. This is your opportunity that you can play your own game. Instead of playing into the hands of New Haven, off of the respawns, trying to force aggression, really rush things, you can take your time, slow things down. It's a new game mode, a new chance, and I mean, not going to be a new map. We're heading back to Raid for this map to search and destroy it. I'm excited. I love it. But, I mean, University of Albany, they are not in a good situation right now. They really need to kind of bring out all their belts and whistles if I was going to see them take out New Haven University on the second map.
And I feel like this map is also going to be a really hard map for them to be able to find success on, because what you're kind of hinting at, correct me if I'm wrong, is that you are looking for them to kind of slow themselves down, find a couple of picks to really kind of build some momentum to close these rounds out. I think that's going to be a little bit harder to do on Raid instead of the likes of some of these other maps. I maybe would have liked to see the Raid Search and Destroy maybe get banned out here if I was Albany, maybe veto it out so you can get one of those more long range maps where it will come down to more so, hey, like, we can win these long range gunfights, we can set up early on this site, play for rotations, play for 50-50s. Now you're heading towards Raid, and Raid is just such a fast-paced map. It doesn't really matter what game mode you're playing on it. If you're playing Search and Destroy, it's still going to be a lot of 4-man hits towards one site. It's playing maybe a 3-1 towards different sites, just doing something. But it still comes down to the fact of this New Haven University team can get into your spawn in literally 10 seconds across the map. And that's when it can get very dangerous for you.
To play a little bit of devil's advocate for this, I think Raid is excellent for this team for University of Albany. I'm going to say that because when I was seeing the little bit of sparks of excitement from Albany into that hard point, it wasn't from the assault rifle players, it was from the submachine gun players. So when they did seem to get a little bit comfortable, to show a little bit of a pushback, it came from the nitty gritty, the close gunfights, and the fast paced styles that the SFG players were there. The only thing is, if I'm going to see them take it out, you need to have the backup from your assault rifles, and that's what I wasn't seeing. inside that hard point. So, I mean, if you go to any other map, maybe you have that chance to maybe a little bit more comfortable in the assault rifle role, but it seems like they're exactly where they want to be on raid. We're in that comfort spot in a map that you're very knowledgeable on. You've played a lot. You have a lot of experience in this side. So you're just letting your SMGs do their thing. And if they're going to take this search and destroy, it's going to be hard because you know that New Haven could get in your spawn and just live there, pitch a tent and never leave. But if Albany has any chance, they need to go toe to toe with the submachine gun players. Raid, it's going to be tough, but I think this is their best opportunity to have, considering it's just such a well-known map.
So let me ask you a question then. Do you want them to be getting more aggressive on this map then, towards the middle of the map, or do you want them to kind of sit back, play, and hope that the likes of New Haven University is going to get over aggressive in a sense and try to push more towards them to really be able to find those early first blood and first picks? Because I mean, from what we saw in that first game there, and especially off the break off on raid, I find it very hard to think that a lot of 50-50 gunfights towards the middle of the map are going to go to the favor of University of Albany.
It's definitely hard to see and hard to imagine, but I was seeing it sometimes. A little bit of brief gunfights towards the middle of the map did look very comfortable for Albany. It's not going to be easy at all, and I would definitely like to see him be a little bit more proactive in the search and destroy. At the same time that we were looking at Sims on that Miami last series, wasn't proactive at ever. This time you look at Bismack. He finds his way in, looking for that shot. Oh, a little bit of shaky, and Relu's going to make him pay. And the backside is Stripes to find that trade. It's going to be the life advantage now here. Not expecting the push from Relu. Flight now 1v2, and New Haven, they just take over that site. It's definitely tough. It's hard, and you can see that gun power is there, but it's exactly what you need to see. This, if Bismack finds that kill, it could have been different, but the shots were shaky.
Yeah, I mean, he might need to go shoot a couple more bots and fire in range between these rounds, because that was definitely a little bit shaky. He was standing still too, but not able to find the kills there. Very unfortunate for themselves. I mean, kind of what I was expecting in that round number one, if I'm gonna be completely honest. But you know what? You're not wrong in saying that University at Albany, they have a chance. I think their best chance is if New Haven University kind of tries to maybe get overconfident in this game, if you will. So they're going to push a 4-man hit over towards this B side. I actually really like this hit coming in from the likes of University at Albany. They can get this bomb down, set up, try to watch it from that back building for themselves there, and just really try to hold it off. But they need to get this bomb down quickly, because you can already see all the arrows on the likes of New Haven University rotating over.
Smack 2 in front of him. They line up, but not gonna take it down. BPR, he takes 2 to the grave, and Carnage over his shoulder. Third one to mark it down. Stripes 1v3. Now they know exactly where he is. You see his sharks in the water to take down their prey. New Haven, another comfortable round. And yeah, I was a very big fan of that setup underneath bedroom. All 4 players there, but
they just stopped.
They just stopped there, and it's something that you talked about. And what can be dangerous is how slippery submachine gun players can be. I mean, hats off to BPR. He is that player right now. The heads-up play to get in zigzag when you know it's going to be a B hit, because you have that player inside ring. Push the aggression to the front side of the ring towards that driveway. They have the information. Cuts over to the pool side and finds 2.
Yeah, it's a tough spot. I think if you're University at Albany here, after seeing how those first 2 rounds went, I think you need to just start overwhelming bomb sites with 4 players. I think that's your best chance for success right now. You made that push into B. I don't know really why they stopped. I don't know what they saw that made them think that they didn't have enough manpower to be able to make that push, but Zin's gonna win a huge one-on-one towards the B site, open it up completely, and look, this is how you make this push work. You push up, you get this bomb down at B. Stripes isn't able to find that kill with the grenade. He gets out with his life, and now this is just gonna be such a tough retake for like the University of Albany to do.
It's no ifs and or buts. You just have to have that idea, have the strategy, and follow through with it. Havoc's able to find another one, so he's going to be in a 1v2 now. You got a player inside bedroom and player number 4 outside deep into that B control point. And Carnage, he gets the information. He spots him. He just runs away. Oh, did he see him?
Oh.
No idea whatsoever. 1v1. Zin, he's escaped into money now. This is where that 1v1 is going to be tricky. 14 seconds left. And that is... No,
Zin won that gunfight twice from 2 different angles, from 2 different sides. This game, he won the first one off the rip from the bedroom to the player on the back L wall, and then this time from just jumping out rocks is able to win that gunfight. I mean, he's definitely on it right now with that.
He's on one.
Yeah, I mean,
I didn't know what to say.
To say the least, he's on one right now. But You know, we're not going to give it up yet for University at Albany. Maybe we can see them make a big push here. It's going to be that 4-man hit towards B. Just go towards this time. Get that bomb down. Have some confidence in your play.
I mean, take some notes from your opponents. I mean, New Haven just did it. Figure out what worked for them and try to mimic it.
It's wide open.
Carnage. Ooh, he spots Bismack the nade. It's going to land. It's going to tag him up, but you have no backup, and Digital Havoc, like that play, hits the deck, finds that flight, looking to win some fights through that pool staircase, but the bomb goes down. Now it's time to set up for these post plans, because you got Bismack on an island here. Carnage around the corner. It's a big win now for New Haven to get back into the site, and the flood from Relu. They're wasting no time at all. You got the backline BPR taking it over. 3 go down just like that, and Stripes again in this bedroom. You have the bomb down, but you have literally nothing to do at all. BPR takes him out of this. That's 4 in a row for New Haven. A flawless retake.
And I mean, I think you got to look at Bismack in that gunfight there. And I mean, obviously right now, if we're looking at this series, we're kind of in a match where we're in a stage where we have 2 teams that are at 2 different tiers right now. You have a team that was at one time, I think, considered in towards the top 25 of CCL last year. And you have a new team in Albany who is just kind of getting their feet wet within Call of Duty right now. And I mean, if you're looking at your Bismack and you're trying to learn from these games there, you're in a situation, you get the bomb down, you're holding an angle. You don't need to push out of that angle there. He's the first person to fall, which completely opens up the front side for the rest of the players on New Haven University to push through, because he gets a little bit too aggressive with Brock. I think he just needs to sit back and try to make that play there for his team. And a very good start here in this round as Stripes finds two through the middle of the map. But unfortunately for him, Carnage on the other side will also find 2 of his own.
Well, this is the closest we've had it, I think, from Albany. And so far, Stripes, he can find another one. And just like that, working for the ace, Carnage inside the ranked flight. I'm not sure if he saw him or not, but it seems like they're still seeking out the information. Hops on down, Carnage for the 1v1 now. Flight has to play against the time now. Take the gunfight and hit the defuse. Carnage is going to relocate over behind this van. Hasn't spotted each other just yet. The shots are there, and Carnage is going to close it out. Another clutch from New Haven. 5-0 in a row. They were just putting this away. They look good. Stricing off the start. Boom goes the dynamite. He rips Relu off that head glitch. It's just after that, you talked about Carnage getting the 2 off of that. You had 2 players working for an ace, and just Carnage, he makes it work.
And the confidence and the gunfights that Carnage was taking there as well, especially even that last one. I mean, like, you need to have confidence to be a Call of Duty player, but like that was a ridiculous gunfight to be able to win towards the end of that. The Kriegs are standing strong right now, and you know what? Honestly, a lot of the SMG players right now on the likes of University at Albany, like you said, are the players who aren't playing the worst at the moment. It's just, unfortunately, they're kind of just getting overwhelmed by everybody on the likes of the University of New Haven right now, and it's just tough because you want to see this team do well. It's just New Haven University is just, they're just very strong, but you know what? They will make it a 2 versus 2. But Relu again will find that kill. But I mean, here's Bismack's chance to be the hero for his team. Will he win a round?
You got Relu, big captain from last year. New squad, same outcome it seems like. Looking to clutch up 6-0 victory, but Bismack 44 seconds to work with. Has to get either the kill or plant this and put the time against this player. But Relu, he's playing this so patiently. He knows he can either wait for the bomb to get planted at B or A, or just sit here and wait for the sound cue for it to get planted. And Bismack, he's going to get there. Relu,
I think he's just playing the 50-50 right now.
I don't think he heard it. Here you go. Bismack's going to flood right on in there. And there's the gunfight. Relu, 6-0 victory from New Haven. The big captain returning 7-3 on the search and destroy. Closes out Raid Search and Destroy with another statement map, looking as good as ever here in the next season.
Yeah, it's just tough. It's just tough for University at Albany. You can just tell that they just don't have a lot of practice under themselves yet as a team. And you know what? They might get better just as the year goes along. The more and more practice that they get. It's just unfortunate for them right now that they're going up against a very strong team in the New Haven University, who, I mean, like I said, was a team that was very possibly a top 25 team last year in CCL. A team that absolutely has every chance in the world to be a top 25 team in CCL again this year. We'll just need to see what the University at Albany can do as the year goes along. Because I mean, I haven't wanted to count them out all series, but I mean, after those first 2 maps, it's a little rough.
It's hard to kind of picture a moment where University of Albany really have looked like the better team because they haven't against New Haven, and that's where you're just seeing the experience from this varsity team in New Haven just take control. And yeah, I mean, that one moment where they were really mimicking the site towards B to get that bomb down and planted, and then Biz, you didn't like that he pushed into Carnage, but if he found that kill, I mean, he has majority of the map under wraps for his team, and that would have been a good situation for Albany to come in, but he jumps the gun. It doesn't work. Carnage locks it down again. His Craig was just lights out in that second map. And again, moving into this control, it's hard to imagine on raid. I mean, as much as it would be a comfort map for Albany, it's a comfort map for every team. And when you're looking at New Haven University, I mean, they are in 4th gear right now, while Albany's just stuck at 1st gear, and that's what happens when you're going up against a team that I don't like to talk about like better teams or worse teams, but at New Haven, they are a good team. They have a new roster this year, but it just seems like they are having the same outcome, a strong showing in collegiate Call of Duty.
A strong showing and a lot of experience on this team as well. You can just tell they have experience, and I think an even better thing to say looking at the series as well is they just have a lot of confidence in versing this University at Albany team as well. You can see the confidence changing in between the two teams, just the way they're willing to take some of those gunfights. You saw it in the end of that round. I can't remember exactly who it was that took I think it was Carnage who took the gunfight. And he was in his 1v2 just at the end of the one round when he got the defuse, or when he was watching the bomb site to get the defuse, to not allow the defuse off. He was standing in the open against a player on a head glitch and just took the one-on-one. Another round where Zip was towards the back, and he's just taking those. They're taking these very risky one-on-one fights with the Kriegs, and just with absolute confidence, knowing that they're going to win the gunfights. And I think that's a big thing for New Haven University. And, you know, it could end up leading to mistakes later on down the line once they do face better teams as well. So, yes, you got that confidence right now. You got to keep it rolling. And if you're University at Albany, it's just something that, you know what, this is a building block season for you right now in this league. And you just need to focus on getting better every single map and every single match that you play.
I really want to see that because, yeah, you might be a lesser team right now against New Haven, but there's a lot to learn from this New Haven squad. And they were showing that. I really liked that round when they went to the B side, got that bomb down early, and Biz, he might have pushed a little bit too hard, but he tried to be a little bit proactive into that. And I'm liking that from Albany. It shows that there is growth and they are pushing for that growth. So I'm excited to see another team in the collegiate Call of Duty is growing and expanding out into this. You said it, they're just dipping their feet into collegiate Call of Duty, ready to just bring themselves into it and experience something new. And I'm glad that their experience isn't just so one-dimensional and that they're just here and they might like be losing and they're just kind of taking it on the chin. However, into that search and destroy, I saw opportunities that they were growing inside the game and trying to change things as into that search and destroy. Now it's time for this control to really kind of bunker down and play just as a team, because you saw Adrian College against Trine in the last series. They had a good showing in the control. They were able to find some progression over towards that A site, and we can see that as we load into this. Few team kills. It looks like we're having some lobby issues right off the bat, but I mean, Albany off this start into this control, I would really like to see them.
I don't know if we are. I think we've got all the players. I think they're just kind of clowning. I'm not 100% on that, but it looked like everybody was into the lobby. But yeah,
might be some other factors into it. Otherwise, they were killing their own teammates, and it's just that I don't think that's how you play the game. So we're gonna bring it back to us and talk a little bit more about Albany going into this control. I think this is a good opportunity to show what they've learned over the hard point and the search and destroy. Combine it here and just try to just pin New Haven against the corner, back them up even a little bit. I think that would be a good victory.
Just do your best. Just absolutely do your best right now and build off of every single loss that you have in this league. And that's how you become a better team. And I think one thing that I would hate to see too is to see this discourage them to lose to a team to the likes of New Haven University. And again, they're not out of this yet. They could still come back. I just haven't seen enough of this series myself to really be able to count this team to a point where I think they could win 3 maps in a row against New Haven University. But I think that they just need to find a way, and sorry to kind of repeat over my words. I just think that it really comes down to learning from your mistakes, and that's how you can build a very successful program, at least at your college as well.
Well, as we figure out a bunch of what's happening through this. I'm really liking what we've seen so far through the day. Yes, we've had 2-3-0s, and I mean, New Haven, they look like they're on pace to keep the pattern going for this week number 2. But I mean, from this week 2 of NACE Starleague, I'm excited for what Collegiate has for this season. It's a brand new season of Collegiate, brand new rosters for Call of Duty. There's a lot of surprises coming through me, and I think from what I've seen from a lot of these teams, there might be a shakeup for the top 25 this year.
I mean, absolutely. I think a big one, and actually in this division as well. And I might get some heat for this because I know this. I know the College COD community, man. But I think that St. Clair has a really good chance to be a top 25 team this year after what we saw from them. And it was I can't remember what this. It was a CCLE Fuse tournament. I can't remember the exact name of it.
Summer Open.
The Summer Open, exactly. That was they looked really good. They're in this division as well. I think that team has a good chance to make some waves this year.
Well, it does look like things are kind of getting back underway for this control, and the teams are getting back into it. But I agree with you. I mean, there's a bunch of teams that I'm excited to see. I really want to see Northwood, because Northwood, they're very known for getting a team, and that team is just, they have all the star power behind them. I mean, you look at them in Overwatch, Rocket League, every title that they've been shown League. I mean, every single time I see a good Northwood roster. I can't wait to see them in Call of Duty as well this year. And they are in the NACE Starleague as well, but let's kind of fold things back into New Haven versus Albany, because this is not over just yet. We're into the control. You're looking at New Haven back on the respawn timer, and this could be their chance to just set up camp in the spawns once again. You saw them in that hard point, and I mean, I don't want to see them slow down here.
I can't fully tell because the colors are so very close between the arrows, but is it Albany that is on offense right now? I do believe so, correct? Yeah, I do think so. I think Albany's the team that's on offense right now trying to come out.
Yes, Albany's on the offense, New Haven on the defense.
Yeah, sorry, it was just a little bit confusing. The colors get a little bit mixy here, but yeah, I mean, just you can see already right off the rip, New Haven University, they're doing a great job of just kind of pinning their opponents in towards the back, and this is where you can really find yourselves in a lot of trouble as well. I mean, down 24-16 in lives already. They're going to try to make a 4-man push through this top-hand side of the map. But again, it's just Carnage. Carnage is here once again, and he can just try to shut this push down with that Craig 6. He's on 7 in a row to start the round off as well. He's got streaks. Oh, man. Colin, it's just a messy match.
I mean, New Haven, they've looked solid throughout this whole series, and it hasn't slowed down here. You look at Carnage, he's just locking down Tiki. It is his job, and he is doing his job right. When you're looking at Albany, they're struggling to get out of their spawns, and I'd like to see them. What you were talking about in the Search and Destroy was just throw yourselves at a point. All 4 players on the same wavelength, just
play together. Exactly.
Play together, get those trades. Didn't happen. They were trying to take individual gunfights, and if you're going to go 1v1 against New Haven, you're going to lose. You need to find a different way around this.
Look how New Haven is hitting this right now. They're going to send all 4 players towards this B side of the map. They're going to find that first player towards the back of rocks as well. And that's just there's only one over there for the likes of the University at Albany, and now Bismack has to make a huge individual play here by himself. He will at the very least find one, but there's still 2 more players he's got to contest on his right-hand side.
He got a little bit of backup from Stripes. That was excellent from Albany to get back into this, but I mean, it's raid. You kill them off of B, they spawn at A, so you might as well say goodbye to the A point.
Carnage finds streaks as well. And this A zone is done. Oh no, and they have streaks to try to help them break on into B now. This is what you can call a snowball effect here if the New Haven University do everything correctly here. If they use these streaks the right way, they absolutely have a chance to just kind of run through this and just string these 2 hills together.
On the front line, they're winning a few gunfights. Tiki, though, Bismack stands tall. And Digital Havoc wins a gunfight in behind to take down Ralu. You look at the mini-map, and you got a few players lingering from behind for New Haven. They get cleaned up, and now you got to take all your sights to the front line. And look at Stripes. He's running rampant out here. He's chasing him down and clearing out his spawn. I like that. Now taking over the pool steps. Ralu waiting for him, knowing he's playing aggressive. Got 2 ticks now to get over onto this B site. Getting a few kills. Carnage finds Digital Havoc. Now's the time to stack the site. You look at the rest of the players for New Haven. They're going to be inside the money hill. Stripes is only able to find one before BPR takes him out. You got the rest of the players inside for New Haven. Look at lock down this attacking round. And this just might be over for the second round of Control because they have the flawless setup and BPR to kill them before they can even make it to this site. He is on a spree of his own. And New Haven 1 round away from a clean 3-0 sweep in the series.
Yeah, very, very clean in that round for themselves there. I mean, their offense almost looked cleaner than their defense did in that first round, which is scary to think because of how good that defense looked.
I don't say that very often.
Yeah, you really don't. But it's just one of those spots where they get, what, a tick onto B, shut down at B immediately, and then put the full force onto A, get the entire zone done, and just put back their attention over towards the other site. I mean, I don't think that Carnage got into a gunfight in that round until he got his streaks either. He was at 7-0 to start the round, and I think it was like a good minute and a half into it before he found his final kill into that set of streaks. But this could end up being a very quick Control here, though, as the University of Albany, they're going to get dropped right off the rip again. And yeah, it's just one of the situations where their gunfights it's just not enough to win it. And they split spawned again for themselves there when they came off the rip, and we keep talking about it. And I mean, obviously they haven't gotten a chance to watch over this yet, but I hope they get a chance to go back, watch over about maybe hear some of our little points on what we think that they could do a little bit better to really learn from their mistakes here and become a little bit more of a team unison here.
Well, 3 lives dropped for New Haven. 9 off the board for Albany. You still have the streaks for both BPR and Carnage, and why not throw a few early? You got 4 to work with. Make this a little bit chaotic. Zin's in the backline. Relu to close it out. They have him trapped inside Art. He's only able to find 1, but Zin's still able to work some magic in behind here. He's going to find Stripes, but he's going to go for Bismack first. Swipes on over. Digital Havoc to make it last one. He's going to be on this site, but it's going to be BPR's cruise missile to clean that one up. He takes down a teammate, but he is taking so much out of the hands of University of Albany. This is a crazy showing from New Haven coming into this next season of Collegiate Call of Duty, and they're picking up right where they left off. And you know, with this team and what I'm seeing from them, this could be their year to turn the tables and make some waves here in Collegiate Varsity Call of Duty.
Absolutely. I mean, they're definitely going to be a team to watch out for in this, and the NACE Starleague especially, because I mean, I'm not 100% on all of the teams that are in here, but with the showing that we're seeing today, they absolutely have a chance to be one of the top, at least top 10, top 5 teams here in this league at the moment. And they're just getting picked away right now. If you're University at Albany, trying to do any little thing that you can right now to just find a little bit of success, open anything up on this map, but you're down lives. You're just trying to push onto the site. At this point, you just want it to be open.
Those Stripes. It's a little bit going here towards B, but with no respawns left. It's a 4v17, and the time it is going to take on down 3.3 seconds before it stomps out here. Maybe can push out another one, but here's the artillery strike. He's going to close out onto the site. Should find a few into that. They push him right into BPR. Shot's not going to find it left. They're still on this, but I mean, you have to imagine if it's not going to be the time, if it's not going to be the objective, it's going to be the kills, and Stripes last alive. New Haven's going to find him, shut him down, and that's a 3-0 in the Control, a 3-0 in the series, and New Haven, as dominant as you can ask for with the standings that were shown on paper.
And now starting off 2-0 in the league as well for themselves. So, I mean, exactly how you want to start off a brand new league and a brand new collegiate year for Call of Duty here if you're the New Haven Chargers. Fantastic start to the season for themselves here. I mean, I don't really think there's a whole lot more to go over with them and how we saw them looking here in this series for themselves. But, I mean, they looked fantastic.
They looked good. And that's that, just period at that. I mean, there's not much more of a statement than you can make other than that. We watched over the highlights of the Control, and you can say that it was really the New Haven show all throughout this series. I mean, you look at the way BPR plays at some points with that submachine gun. He can really be up in your face and just look like he can do anything. The way I was seeing BPR play, I felt like he could do anything on this map. And you had the heads-up plays from Zin back here with this. Knows the trigger discipline can come into a factor there. Clears out Zigzag, then the point. The priorities, they were set. And New Haven, they had an idea. They ran with it. They cleaned them up. And Albany, I mean, as much as I saw a little bit of glimpses of hopes in certain situations, just you knew that there was a difference between these two teams when it came to the rankings, and New Haven There's a lot to learn from this team as you are new into this from Albany, exactly like you say. I hope you run back. I hope you watch over these VODs and don't discourage you. Just get better off of them, because New Haven was really, there were so many things that they were doing that you can learn from. And into the NACE Starleague, there's a lot of time left to patch things up and try again.
And I mean, to be fair, too, everybody starts somewhere, right? This could just be a team of 4 people who just decide to get together in their college, and we're like, hey, you know, let's start a COD team, guys. Let's have some fun with it. And they could just be having fun within this league, and that's exactly what it is. It's where it starts. It's where you start to see some diamonds in the rough as well come into Call of Duty, and you know what? They can learn from their mistakes. They can get better, and as long as they don't get discouraged, I mean, sky's the limit for these guys right now.
I mean, there's one thing that when I went to college that my professor told me that I've always just listened to, and it's always been in my mind, and it's to fail and to fail forward. I mean, I think the most you ever see from people in life is that when you fail, you learn the most from that. And that's exactly what I want to see from these new collegiate teams this year. Is if you're going to fail, you fail forward and you learn from your mistakes and you push even farther throughout the rest of this. And from Albany, there's plenty to learn from in this sense to get into this new season of college Call of Duty. However, when we flip this around and talk about the victors here, because New Haven, they looked fantastic. You put a period on the end there. There's a bunch of players that I'd like to see. I mean, BPR coming into this series, I highlighted him a little bit. Coming into the season of collegiate Call of Duty, he looks like he is slotting into this role for New Haven's University with ease, and he looks so comfortable on the map.
They looked like a well-oiled machine this weekend, or sorry, this week. And I think honestly, the person I was impressed with most was Carnage. Carnage looked fantastic throughout every single map, every single mode. He was always dropping numbers. He's running that AR role to a very dominant level right now. And I mean, if he can keep it up, it's going to be very, very good for this team going forward. And I mean, both their ARs, they looked like they knew exactly what they needed to do throughout every single map. They were always holding down spawns, and if one wasn't, the other one was picking up where they needed to be. And even there's some machine gun players, both players constantly pushing forward on the map, putting in that very annoying pressure. But again, it does start with those AR players. If they can hold down those long range line of sights, it opens up so much for those submachine gun players to really make those forward progression pushes and find that success on the map for your team.
And towards the end of it, I mean, we get a 3-0 from New Haven, a 3-0 in our second match from Trine Esports, and a 3-0 from the Akron Zips in our first matches. 9 maps through the day. My math is a little bit hard. I've been out of school for way too long, it seems like. But I mean, we're heading into the next week of Call of Duty play. Excited to see what these teams learn and into it as well. I mean, NACE Starleague, it's an excellent place for these teams to grow as well. If we take a look at our schedule, as this is the Wednesday, we're looking towards the end of the week for the NACE Starleague. You can see Monday, Rocket League and Overwatch. Tuesday, League of Legends. We missed it this week, but hopefully get to see it next week. Today, we saw some Call of Duty, and the next time you're going to see the NACE Starleague stream, it is going to be Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern or 4 p.m. PST. So you don't want to miss out on that. It's been a great day, and obviously for collegiate CSGO, can't be any better than that to finish off the week. Jesse, any closing thoughts from the day?
I mean, I can't wait till Friday. I can't wait till next week on Wednesday. I mean, I enjoy watching CSGO. I mean, yeah, the NACE Starleague, it's where you're supposed to be right now. Let's be honest. There's not a whole lot of esports action going on right now in terms of Call of Duty and that. So, I mean, if you can get in right now and you can watch some collegiate Call of Duty, it's definitely where you should be.
New year, new teams, new season of Collegiate COD. Things are looking great. We're going to close out for the night. Can't wait to see you on Friday over here at the NACE Starleague. Until then, have a great night, everyone.